Every meal's a feast. Every paycheck's a fortune. Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Nerds and Words. I have the distinct honor of being your host today, Tim Allen 1337. Took last week off because we have got so much freaking content this week. We're all very excited to talk about the various different things from the Calpheon Ball, a little bit of patch notes. And today, to help us dig through all of it, we have a special returning guest. So maybe not that special. Kerr, welcome back.
Yo, thank you.
Moreland TV, as always.
Hello.
And my main man with all the crazy ideas, Potion Shop TV, making his return to people's monitors.
Hello.
Once again, we got a lot of great stuff going on, so we're going to jump right into what we've been up to for a couple of weeks so we can kind of catch up with everybody. A couple of us haven't been streaming all that often, so let's spend a couple minutes just talking about ourselves and what we've done in progression in games and what we've been streaming or thinking about or doing. So, Kerr, what you been up to the past couple of weeks, man, since the last time we saw you?
I finally hit Pin Black Star, so that's been pretty nice.
Whoa, let's go.
Congrats.
So that's been pretty
Wow,
nice.
how many?
23 crons and 1 raw. And the raw was not the one that went.
Oh.
And yeah, it was pretty oof. It ended up taking 31 TET attempts to get back to TET. But total it cost me somewhere around 160-ish bill. So, I mean, not the worst, but
It's got your name on it.
I mean, it has my name on it. So
It's got your name on it.
Was the raw an accident?
no, the raw was tilt. Pure tilt.
Got
I'm not even gonna lie. I used to like try to play it off. Well, you know, I'll do a raw attempt here and there, but honestly, it was tilt. But yeah, it's pretty much the highlight right there. Yeah.
So how's it feel?
I mean, I'm tamer, so it's kind of wasted, but it feels nice to have it. You know,
Dude, I saw your clip and you were the most unentertaining person to watch get something amazing.
bro, I was dead inside. All right, like I was happy. It was more like, you know, I don't know. It's probably a bad analogy, but like, let's say you're like speeding down a highway and you get pulled over by like a state trooper, and like, you know, he's about to give you a ticket, but like he doesn't give you a ticket. He actually lets you go. It's like that feeling of relief. Like, fuck, dude. Like, I made it. I guess that's kind of like the only way I can explain. But
Yeah, but then you had the same exact reaction like 5 minutes later when you got a flame drop at Turos.
I'm just dead, bro. Fucking dead, bro.
Fair enough, dude. Potion, what have you been up to, dude? Where you been? What you up to? How you doing?
Well, we're starting streaming on Monday. That's my my news. Probably going to get a part-time job. It will have to depend on a little bit on the support from the stream. I don't really expect a whole lot. You can't take a whole month vacation and expect to come back with amazing results. So probably going to get a part-time job and continue streaming. For people who don't know, the PC broke. I was going to take like a 2 weeks off just for mental psyche. And then with the PC breaking and just trying to get back in my groove, it ended up being about a month now. So I've worked on a music album. It's out. So the second music album is out on Spotify. So pretty happy with that. Back to play the new class, and we'll be going crazy hard on the new class. Going to be prepping for that for the next couple weeks. Probably get finally my pin boots back and get some crons and memory fragments and some other stuff ready for the new class.
Sounds good, man. Any idea what you're going to do for a part-time job?
I have a lot of experience in logistics and government affairs, so I'm thinking maybe working for USPS, doing load plans for planes potentially, or doing hazardous materials and certifying those for shipment on planes. Both those are all good paying jobs, and I can do that probably part-time and get good money while also maintaining my stream.
I'm so glad you answered that question. That's a really interesting answer. I have no idea what Potion Shop would do for part-time work, and that's you. You did not disappoint. Okay, cool.
I just assumed he was going to become a hitman.
Shower crimes.
Like an assassin of some sort.
Well, I'm leaving my options open, so.
Are you allowed to wear beanies when you're dealing with hazardous materials?
It really depends on like if you're like prepper or if you're just a certifier. So if you're prepping it, there's a different set of rules and like stuff for it. But if you're just a certifier, you're just looking at a box, making sure the box is sealed properly, making sure that it's not leaking, carbon dioxide, for example, or it's not, doesn't have any problems with the boxing process.
So the certifiers can wear beanies?
Yes, yeah, they wear beanies, which is good for
Okay.
me.
Yeah, good. Glad we cleared that up. Morlin, how you been, dude?
Good. There's too much going on, man. I can't keep up.
Yeah, you've been all over the place, huh?
I started rating Nax Ramus. That came out last week. It's been kind of fun.
Is there not an A in that? It's just Nax Ramus?
What would you say, Naxaramus?
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Is there no A there? Have I been
I don't know.
over my...
I don't know how it's spelled or how it's said.
You're the one that always knows this shit.
No, it's Nax Ramus.
Okay, now I learned that.
Yeah, I'm saying that with confidence, but I don't actually know. I'd have to double check it.
Fair enough.
So that's been fun. I never played it back in the day. We are at 12 out of 15 bosses in my little semi-casual guild. So we're still progressing, and it's actually challenging, which is nice because you don't get a lot of challenge in Classic WoW. And then Cyberpunk. I've been playing as much Cyberpunk as I can. But that was disrupted yesterday by the GM event that we had. So I did that for a few hours, went around, saved the worlds, earned a bunch of loot scrolls. Hard carried the event, if I'm being honest. I don't think they would have completed half of that shit without me.
Good for you.
Thank you. So yeah, a lot more Cyberpunk coming up. Probably after the podcast, actually. I'm having a lot of fun with the game. I think it's a little bit overhyped, though. People were acting like it was going to be game of the decade, and I don't think it quite rose to that, but it has been a lot of fun.
Massively overhyped, but we could talk about that after all the BDO stuff. Yeah. So I have only been streaming on Saturdays. I peeled like a lot of shit back and completely stopped drinking except for today. First time I've drank in like 2 weeks. And I've worked out 10 of the past 14 days, like 90-minute, 2-hour like workouts. Been waking up at a good time, going to sleep at a good time. I feel more like myself than I've felt in years. And I've been able to play other games. I've been playing Shadowlands, WoW, just casually. I'm almost level 60, like that slowly. I started a Let's Play series for Cyberpunk. So I want people that want to watch the game or enjoy the game without buying it or whatever the case is to be able to not miss anything or go through VODs or whatever. So I figured YouTube was a really good vessel for that. Also, I've never tried doing like a Let's Play seriously. So that's been interesting. YouTube is a different animal. And then I've put out 2 videos. One was for the Night Vendor update that I thought was going to be a little bit more fun than it was, but it was still good to get back into BDO YouTube videos. And then I put out a video as I went live today with my thoughts as succinctly and non-toxically put as possible about Cacao's publishing and the transfer over to Pearl Abyss and why that's a good thing for everybody who is or will play the game. So I've been doing a lot of YouTube stuff, peeling back from streaming quite a bit and really just enjoying streaming once a week and saying hi to everybody. And it's been wonderful, actually. So a lot of outside time and exercise and healthy habits, just trying to break some bad habits. It's so hard to take care of yourself. And I've been inspired by you a couple times, Marlon. You've got such a good routine and you make sure that you work out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, yeah, you do. You're always talking about how you're doing your Muay Thai thing and you're always eating steak. And I just have
not doing Muay Thai during the pandemic, but yeah, I have to maintain the physical routine. Otherwise I'd literally lose my mind. Like it's not optional for me.
Yeah. So you've been my friend for the past year and a half or so, right? How many times have you seen me lose my mind?
Once or twice.
Right. So
I mean, you
think
can't lose what you never found, but
I've had enough of needing a babysitter and making bad decisions and unhealthy habits. So I'm just doing my best to break away from a lot of that. And I've dabbled in it once or twice, but I'm actually like hardcore doing it and buying a bicycle, and I'm going to go biking 30 miles a day and stuff. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad everybody's good. Sounds like everybody's good. There's a excitement in the air with this Calpheon Ball and all the shit that's happening. Let's get into these patch notes real quick so we can dive into.
One more brag. I forgot. I hit Try Dead God right before the event. I did a YOLO attempt just for the hell of it. Like, well, if we're gonna hit it, we might as well hit it before saving the world, and it went up 9%.
Wow.
There you
What's your
go.
DP? What's your DP now?
271, I think.
Nope.
Or
371.
does that break you even with all those duos? Because I remember I was watching you enhance duo, and you got absolutely destroyed.
I think it has to put me ahead.
Did you one tap it?
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
I think duo took like 2.5 more attempts than it should have, but I mean, one tapping try, I'm sure pays for that.
There's a Blumbear luck coming in right there.
Yeah.
Actually, might have some. I've been playing the game recently, so I've been storing up all that bonus RNG. You know, it's paying off real hard.
Yeah, dude, it was returning player RNG. hadn't played in like 2 weeks.
Your cup was so empty, dude. Jesus.
Well, let's jump into. Last week we didn't do a podcast episode, so the new feature from there was the added family inventory. How does this work? How do we get it?
I have no idea.
Do a little quest and get it. It's okay. It's a good start. So here's what I like the function of it. It's pretty easy to get. It's pretty easy to use or whatever. I think it's really useful for scrolls mainly. I don't really think it's useful for anything else. Like they had it so you could use. Why is there a tree in the middle of Calpheon? Okay, sorry. Anyways, they have it so you can use it for things like worker food and consumables, but I just don't see it being useful for that. The weight limit is kind of too low, so you can't really put a significant amount in there. It really just seems to be useful for scrolls. And they're selling the slots for like $2 each, which I think is a bit egregious. If they were 50 cents each, I would have bought a whole bunch, but at $2 each, I'm just going to wait for them to go on sale. I think that's a little ridiculous, like most things in this game's cash shop. But it is a nice little convenience
it's
overall.
For all characters, though, right?
Yeah, it's for your whole family.
And if I put like, let's say, food in there on my Sork, and I go to my lawn, would I also see it on my lawn, or would I?
It's family inventory.
Okay.
But
like
I mean,
the main use I've seen for
one
so
central
far
market made. Yeah, one central market made is like more useful than the entire family inventory.
Yeah.
So if I had something like, let's say I had something in Valencia City, I could jump on a Valencia City character, put stuff in my inventory, and then jump back in Sakurai and pull it and use it.
You can put a very small amount of food or scrolls or that sort of thing in there. You can't put anything in there. There's a weight limit that's very restricting.
100 pounds. You can put 100 pounds in there.
Literally, you're better off just using a market made if you need to feed your workers or if you need to get food or whatever. Also, like, food doesn't really weigh that much to begin with. So, like, why would anyone ever run out of food while they're in Sakurai? Like, I've got a stack of 30 food on me at all time. It weighs hardly anything.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing they could probably do to make it at least have some point of use is make it so that you could put treasure items in there. So make it so you can put like your compass or your arc map and you can access them, or your infinite pots, and you can use all of those from any of your characters instead of having to move them around and things like that.
Yeah, it's complicated to keep track of them.
Leaving out the infinite potion was a massive oversight. I can't imagine that's not going to get changed in the future, because that's just silly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they did that, I might actually grind it. That's actually a really good idea.
It's not a bad idea.
But 100 weight, I thought they would have had the pay to win for the weight, not necessarily the slot. Obviously both, but there's no way to expand the weight right now, right?
Yeah, I don't think
not that I know of.
As far as I know, just slots. You can only expand the slots.
That's weird.
I kind of feel like they should reduce the price of the inventory spots by half, but then also include weight, so then they can capitalize on both sides of that. You know?
Yeah, they need to make more money.
Exactly. Their profits are down.
Well, the stuff you can put in there, like I don't think it breaks the game if you can suddenly transfer thousands of like beer from one area to another. You know what I mean? It's not like you're transporting raw mats or trade goods or anything. So, yeah, I don't see why they couldn't just give it a ton of space and a ton of weight.
I'm really surprised that it's linked between all characters. I kind of figured if you just unlocked it, it would just be unlocked on all characters. So if you bought one inventory space, it'd be like buying 20 inventory spaces. So the value would be really high.
No,
But
the whole
instead-
point of it is that it's a shared inventory. It's not supposed to be like extra regular inventory. It's supposed to be shared inventory for a small set of items.
Yeah.
It's just-
So the only thing you can really put in there is like elixirs, food, like worker food, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I can see why they want to limit it so much then, because in that case, it's very powerful. Because, I mean, imagine you could put trade items in there, it'd just be broken.
You can't though, so they might as well up
Yeah.
the weight. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Interesting. What was the other things that we missed from last week? Guild Boss Farid, who cares? And Autumn Season ends. Black Spirit Pass stuff.
Yes, all the season stuff is converted now. We've got a new season apparently coming with a new class on the 22nd. Is that right?
Yep. December 22nd.
I thought it was going to be earlier, honestly, but that's a good time. And that's
we have a new scroll for the new area. That's pretty cool.
Oh, how's that work?
Yeah. The fangs.
Yeah. You did some of them, right, Kerr?
I've ran one of the scrolls. I ran one of the scrolls yesterday, actually. Last night. And they're okay. I got like between 2 to 3 every hour at Turos of the new fangs to make the new scrolls. And they drop like the bosses drop ambers and a chance to drop like Spectre's energy and a bunch of Kaffir / dust. So they're okay. They're not bad. Extra little money just from grinding Odalita spots.
What's
That's
like the
cool.
primary reward again?
Kaffir and
just-
dust. Yeah. Kaffir and spirit dust.
That doesn't seem
So
too
there's
bad.
like extra Kaffir. Yeah. And the bosses, they're pretty tanky, actually. So like it's something you'd want to run in a group and everyone gets their own loot. It doesn't have those like, so like, you know, when you run relics or Pila scrolls, the main person will get the like red bundle or whatever. But when you run these scrolls, everybody basically gets the same loot.
Oh, that's really
So-
cool. It's kind of like a group
Yeah, I
scroll
like
now.
that.
I like
yeah,
that.
and the bosses are pretty tanky, so it kind of incentivizes running it with the group because you fight each of the boss from the main spots. So like you'll fight like the big guy that spawns at Olan's, the big like furry yeti looking guy, and then you'll fight like the little Dark Knight looking boss from Thornwood, and you'll fight like the golem from Olan's. So they're pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good addition to the game. Especially, it kind of helps the Kaffir issue. I mean, EU never had a Kaffir issue, but I mean, it helps NA and the other servers out.
Yeah.
It makes what's that grind spot down there, Thornwood or whatever? Probably makes that grind spot way more interesting now too.
Yeah, I
Now
wonder
that
what the
piloting
drop rate
is becoming less of a thing, you think armed tiers are going to start selling leech runs for these? Are they good enough?
I mean, even if they are, I don't think that's an issue overall, just because it's something that players can enjoy together. It doesn't hurt the individual player experience that much, I don't think. And it still requires the time investment, because you still have to hit the boss one time, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
So-
gotta get the one hit.
Somebody in chat said they got one full scroll in an hour at Thornwood. So that's probably a pretty good. That place was already pretty good. I felt it always needed a mid-tier drop. It was so boring grinding that place, even with the event. Felt like it really needed a mid-tier drop. So I think that's an excellent change for that grind spot.
Let's see. Guild Boss Giant Mudster and Ancient Puderum have been updated, and they're more ferocious now. That was this week's patch. So this seems making like old content more relevant. Let's see.
I don't know anyone who's done it yet. My guess is that this is still not going to be worth getting your guild together to do, but I mean, it could be wrong.
Things under two.
Aftershock has not done one yet. You want to do one?
Yeah, we can do one. Let's see.
The Karanda change.
Yeah, Karanda Heart is out now. I hear it's pretty common.
What? No.
Yeah,
The
it's-
oh, did that come out with the boss update?
Yeah, it drops
Yeah,
by
if you
Stormbreaker.
kill Stormbringer Karanda, and she drops quite a few of those hearts apparently.
Hmm.
I
You
haven't
gonna
made
buy
it
one?
up to it yet,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm kind of
You
curious.
sold
to
your
see.
Garmoth, right?
yeah, I yeeted mine. It's. I mean, I don't know, man. Like now that Karanda's heart is out, you have to justify a 9 bill expenditure just for one extra crystal slot. That's really hard to justify at almost any level of progression, unless you're just fucking maxed out.
I kind of like the mechanics of the new Karanda. I don't know if you guys have done it, but like flying all around and dying to fall damage and stuff, and kind of making the game a little bit more fun. I bring that up pretty often on the podcast that it they can kind of loosen up a little bit and do fun stuff like that. So I'm happy to see something like that.
The yeet where she like sucks everybody in and then just like shoots them off the mountain. That's so sick.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Probably,
We
Probably
need more
my
of that.
favorite boss mechanic that I've seen in this game ever.
Yeah, I like this focus that they've had on like a lot of more like fun mechanics because like they've done several things like that. Like every grind spot now is like this little mechanic that occasionally happens. History Aukman have mechanics now. Almost every grind spot has like something like that, and now they're taking this to kind of same approach they had at grind spots to world bosses, and I like it. It makes the game feel more fun. It's not necessarily game changing, I would say, but it makes it more enjoyable, and I think that's what it needs.
I think
I'm
one
with
of
you
the
on that.
biggest things they could do though is they really need to make it so that world bosses don't break crystals. Like that's such an outdated mechanic because like things like Bloodstorm Nuva, right? It's a sick boss, but like when you're on, like, why would you ever go to a Bloodstorm Nuva and risk losing 2 Elcars or 2 Gen Vipers, right? Like risk losing 1 billion silver worth of crystals. That's kind of like the only thing. Like I really like the mechanics. It's pretty cool because like Nuver, he'll like split himself and make a clone and all these other mechanics. But I think they should get rid of crystal loss on death to world bosses because otherwise, like why take your main? Just hop on an Oasis. Right.
Yeah, I do think there should be a punishment mechanic, but crystals are too great of a punishment in today's game compared to what they used to be.
It needs to just be less loot, right? Like you should have a loot rating based on your performance, and that should decline every time you die. It's real simple.
Yeah, I agree. More damage equals more loot. More deaths equals less loot. I like it. It's pretty simple. I mean, I don't think it'd be that. I mean, I don't know much about programming at all, but it doesn't seem like it'd be hard to program that.
It's pretty much how the bosses on mobile work. So,
what world bosses have they not updated yet? Offentet maybe? What are ones? Have they updated
we have a
Kudum?
super Kudum? I don't think we have a super Kudum, do we?
Yeah, I guess.
Super
Yeah, we
Kudum.
do. We do have the wait. No,
We do have super Kudum.
Kudum is next, right?
Nuver. We have Nuver.
We have Nuver, we have Zarka, and we have Stormbreaker Karanda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Kudum should be next, right?
I guess it would either be Kudum or the weekly bosses. We have Quint and Maraka, and those things are dead on NA.
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot
true.
that those existed, dude.
I was over here like, there's something I'm forgetting over here.
But apparently on EU they die every time they spawn.
What?
We
Well,
were talking about it because someone was
yeah.
like, "Yo, do I have to kill Quint to get for the adventure journal, right? For the 1 AP?" And Chow was like, "What? It dies on EU every time." I'm like, "What the hell? Really?"
It's just that focus on EU players have focused more on fun than they do on like money progression, and NA players are always about, if it doesn't make me silver, I'm not doing it. This is like a
Yeah.
gameplay style difference.
It's a pretty big generalization.
Well, I mean, it's not obviously
Kinda
doesn't fit every
Yeah.
single person, but I think that obviously EU does more life skilling than NA does. NA tends to do more PvP than and at least care more about PvP than EU does. But it's not saying everybody falls in that category. That wouldn't be fair to say.
You trying to say the life skillers don't PvP? What are you trying to say, Potion?
Yeah.
Well,
what?
I mean, I'm just saying they have Kavris over there, and they've had Kavris the entire time. I mean, I'm just looking at what the stats are here, right?
Night Vendor. Night
Oh
Vendor
yeah,
got
what?
updated.
How is that, Tim? You said you made a YouTube video on that earlier.
Yeah, you can't see it because I got funny camera thing going on. I have invisible paper. How about that? Pretty cool, huh? You want to see that again?
Tim disappears,
Ah!
and he's back.
Ah!
Hey, your logo's not backwards anymore.
Yeah, I fixed it. It actually is on my screen. It is backwards on my screen, but You guys are more important than me. So, looking at my math here, a lot of the money that you make from doing it, I rolled 7,500 energy, which was 300 rolls. A lot of the money that I made doing it was basically just Blackstone armors and hards. And then the Kafirs all sell at 2.25 mil. So there's some okay money there. So after tax, I made like 100, 110 mil, but it took like 40 minutes to roll through all those characters. My game crashed like 4 times and all that shit. So, but I got my big drop for an accessory was a Turos belt for 768 mil.
Yeah, the prices for the most part are pretty ridiculous. You can get a good deal on a lot of Kafirs and armor stones, and occasionally you can get a good deal on something like Uragons, but most of the accessories are like 700, 800 mil for like a 200 mil item. It's pretty crazy. Valtara belts, I keep seeing Valtara belts over and over again for 130 mil. They're currently 50 on the market. So I don't know why they can't just tie Patrigio's prices to the central market and have you roll based on that. I don't know why they come up with these crazy like 800 mil values. I think they just want a certain amount of your rolls to be like dead rolls where you just don't have a chance to get anything.
It was almost every single time I rolled each character, I got 11 bags of Blackstones. It was really weird. I'm sorry, there was 2 or 3 weapon stones that I didn't buy, but I'd almost always walk away with exactly 11 out of, I think, 20 rolls. Yeah, 20 rolls. I'd have 11 Blackstone armor bags. So the math was somewhat interesting.
If my understanding is correctly, it seems like this is something that'd be good for new players, but once you can get up into the 100 mil plus range, probably not worth it anymore.
No, it's not worth doing at all, because if you do I did the math. If I sold all the energy that I had, I would have made 168 mil on the marketplace selling my energy.
You're still better off just converting your energy to potions, unless you want to play the lottery.
And that's exactly. I'm gonna do it one more time and make another video about it just to see if I can like get lucky. But it's a casino and it cost me 50 million silver to play.
I think that the only case in which that it's really, really good is it like, let's say we're getting Nova in 2 weeks, right? If they make it so Nova is tag locked on release and you can't tag your gear to Nova, being able to go and guarantee get a weapon box because they don't show you specific class boxes anymore, that's kind of cool, but that's about it.
You can get them through like the Node War tokens now and stuff, can't you? The boxes. You don't need to pay 250 mil for a Zarka box.
You can get some of them cheaper than that. I saw a Kudum box for 200, and I was kind of tempted to grab it in case they announced a new class, but I honestly didn't think it was going to be like a week from now.
Right?
I was pretending I thought it was gonna be December 9th originally because of the season end time. I figured it'd be 1 week of season downtime, and then season 3 would start up, and we'd immediately go into the new class. We talked about this earlier, but I feel like a new class every season is not the answer. Do you guys kind of agree with that?
I don't think anyone wants a new class every season, dude.
I'm well, okay, are we done with patch notes? Can we move on to like the meat and potatoes here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you want to talk about Nova first?
I think, I mean, that's what everybody wants to talk about here, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, self-publishing, I'm always happy to talk about, but yeah, so go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure we were done with patch notes.
Well, Nova got announced, and from what we know, it's going to be. Do we have a trailer of it and everything of it? I'm guessing now. It's going to be like a Frost Guardian Paladin, but they're calling it Nova.
Yeah,
I feel like Nova. I normally think of like fire because of, I don't know. Is that not accurate?
Nova is the name of the ghost character from Heroes of the Storm.
That's what I think of.
Are you guys? I mean, I feel like it's so soon after Hashashin that, I mean, it gives me a reason to play Black Desert, which is good, but I don't know if it's what I was looking for.
I think she looks sick, dude.
You're happy about Nova?
I think she looks sick, dude. Look, hip cleavage and belly buttons. I'm a simple man, bro. It don't take much to keep me happy, all right, dude. And ice aesthetics, I'll take it. Obviously, I'm not gonna reroll to it, but
Yeah, I
fun.
thought we were getting Ice Valkyrie with Guardian. So I guess this is like Ice Valkyrie Reborn. I don't know. There's a lot of Ice Valkyries in the game. A lot of tanky girls with shields and skimpy plate mail. I don't just. And they must just make so much money off of this aesthetic compared to other class releases that they're just looking for any possible way that they can pump out more of this like archetype.
Well, they haven't come out with Puff Mini for Zerker and Hashishine, so I don't think they've really exploited, some of the male character opportunities, just really low hanging fruit. But until they decide to do that, I guess they have to just keep coming out with thick shield girls with hip dimples or whatever Kerr's into.
I would buy a lingerie for a dwarf character, like a Gimli,
Well, they also announced that there's a Papu character coming, right? Or a Papu class coming in the middle of next year.
So we can finally RP as Munchkin furries. Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
And they teased another one that looks like going to be a Geomancer.
What?
Yeah, you didn't see the little teaser image of like the floating Earth rock thing in the distance?
No.
Yeah, they gave 2 class teasers. Well, 2 class teasers plus Nova, right? Here, I can find.
That's kind of scary. They might actually release a new class every 3 months if they're already teasing that many.
Yep, I think they are. I think that nightmare that we're all worried about.
If they're doing a season every 3 months, then that means out of next year we're getting 4 seasons, and 2 of those are going to be classes at the very least. At the very least, 2 of them are going to be classes.
So the profits are down Q3 by over 50%. So you think this is the answer? They look at spreadsheets and go, every time we come out with a new class, we make a shitload of money. So we're just gonna pump this shit out.
I think if they come out with half the time as classes, I think that's fine. But they need to have something for the other half that's really will entice players. They need something that's not necessarily completely new, but need something that feels new and fresh. Something that grabs people's attention, whether it be like BDO's first raid or a true dungeon. I don't know why that would be, but something that would interest people to come back and try it. And it I don't know what that'd be. It's not going to be the new PvP event, that they have coming out. That's not going to be it for sure. What do you guys? What do you guys want to see?
There's lots of things
about it all the time.
All right,
Yeah,
I dropped it in your
I wanna
Twitch
see
chat,
it.
the little teaser thing.
Yeah, I see it. Thank you. I'm so disappointed that this is the next class, that this is what they came up with. There was oh man, I don't know about all that. Why is there? Oh, that's a picture. I was like, why are there people with masks on in front of it? What's happening? This is the last thing I wanted. I think, another Guardian. It's basically another Guardian. I was watching that teaser, just seeing how many skills are literally exactly the same. The movement, the speed, all of it, the animation. And I don't know who this is for. I don't know why this is happening. I don't know why something, we've got so many melee classes. We've got a couple Guardians already,
I'm kind of the mind that they should take the other route and just take the League of Legends route, where it's like pump out skins and like cosmetics out the wazoo every week.
They've already tried that, right? Like Costume Task Force, that went nowhere.
Well, they only made like 5 costumes though.
Yeah, they've literally come out with barely any costumes, and most of them look like reskins of each other, where they just cut a sleeve off and cut the skirt.
That's what it's going to be, though. Like if we want 3 new classes a year or 4 new classes a year or whatever they're aiming for, like it's going to just be reskins of abilities that already exist that they're just going to be twisting into new combinations, right? Like they can't actually come up with new classes that fast.
Yeah, basically. I mean, honestly, not if they want them all to be intricate and kind of have their own feel and uniqueness. Like Hash, they did good, right? Hash kind of has that unique feel to it, but
That's the crazy thing is they're talking about core skills for succession. They're talking about adding on like even more add-ons to Awakening. So
A
every
brand new
time,
awakening ability for all class got announced as well.
yeah. So every time a new class comes out, it's going to have core skills for succession, core skills for Awakening. It's going to have bonds. It's going to have rebombs. It's going to have. They got to do a 10 and a 25 and a 50%. They got to do 100 and a 200 for suck and for Awakening. Like we don't even have half this shit for succession with the existing classes. Now they're going to be doing all this stuff and releasing more classes. The only way that this turns out, if they're going to keep up this pace, is we just get like 10 more Valkyries, right? Because they don't have time or resources to actually make independent, unique classes that's that sort of a pace with that much, with that many layers.
I mean, honestly, it's going to take like we'll say 50% of the time to do that, and another 50% is going to be developing new areas. And I don't think new areas or new classes really solve the problem that people want in BDO. They want something that feels fresh. We don't have to get something fresh every year, but we do need something that is like the Covenant system in Shadowlands or like the corruption system in that WoW has. We need one of those every 2 or 3 years in order to make the game feel like it has a fresh coat of paint on it.
I don't know. The way that people play MMOs now, I almost think that they might be doing it right. Like
You think so?
release kind of mediocre contents in large quantities rather than like get people to come back and play the game for a month or two, spend a bunch of money, get bored, go back to WoW, and then come back again 6 months later and spend money again. Like I kind of think that they actually they probably make more money with that model than they do trying to appeal to veteran players who are constantly dropping off.
I mean, I agree, right? For like players like us, I mean, they kind of already got their money out of us, right? Like you guys aren't going buying inventory slots and wait and shit like that. I mean,
I don't spend any money on this game anymore. I don't buy artisans. The only thing I buy is like maybe a value pack that's on sale for 50%, and then I buy like a year's worth, and then I don't spend any more money.
Yep. That's how I'm playing too. I just bought for the first time. I bought all my buffs for the month using silver. I'm just kind of done with that whole thing.
Yeah, maybe that is the solution. It's just that it's too hard to maintain the happiness of veteran players, so you just go for the low-hanging fruit.
Well, they're coming out with a raid or something, right? What was that they hinted at there?
We want to go through the Calpheon Ball stuff?
yeah,
It's kind of melting into it. So
they said something about a 2-person dungeon called Ataraxia or something, Ataraxion, or something like that.
So I don't know if 2 people, this game, people keep asking for these like dungeons and stuff when this game really doesn't lend itself to it. So I think it's cool that they're going to try. It'll be interesting to see. But, I think they also announced that they're going to rework the rewards for Altar of Blood and that other thing that was dead on arrival content where you build up turrets or whatever. I really wish that they just let some of this stuff go so they could focus on, different things, maybe put a little more thought and effort into the animations and uniqueness of classes instead of just making a sister class to a Guardian. But, I'm fine with them and the idea. Was there any information given out about the Thornwood? I guess it's already, do we have like a date on that or anything? Did they bring it up at all?
I haven't heard anything about Thornwood.
No.
It's on the live server, or it's on the test server, right? It'd be nice if we do like
Not
what
anymore.
the fuck they were doing with that.
Not really. You're able to try. So like there was like a period of like 2 days where you could access the Thornwood stuff on the global labs, but then now you can't really do it. And they've kind of like haven't been saying a whole lot about it. So
I think we all know what that means.
Like with this new dungeon, is it supposed to be like a scripted encounter? Or is it supposed to be like, what do they mean by dungeon exactly? Because that could mean a million different things. Is it just an underwater, like a cave grind spot?
I mean, it's like History and Ackman, right? They consider History and Ackman to be dungeons, quote, quote.
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to be another Ackman. They
said it was like an encounter. It's a 3 to 5 person dungeon, and then there's like a moon boss raid in Star's End. So there's going to be like a boss you can fight.
They do
in
have
Star's
that
End,
big.
I guess.
They've had the big like walled off cave where they had this big gate that rolled down, and we thought we could go in there. So maybe that's what they're going to add to it. We'll have to see what it looks like. I mean, if it's supposed to be different than what they've called a dungeon in the past, I think that'll be an interesting change up for the game.
I don't think they know how to make bosses in this game. I don't know if a dungeon or like a. I don't think they should be trying to make the game more like WoW, right? Like I don't. I know a lot of WoW players are always like, "Oh, does this game have rating?" Like it's on from a shallow point of view, it's like a selling point. But realistically, when it comes down to being executed, I don't think the bosses in this game are particularly like fun if it's something you're going to do over and over and over again. Becomes a chore very quickly. I think they should lean on the strong points of the game's combat, which is blowing up a shitload of mobs, like feeling badass and getting a bunch of loot. So if they had like an Altar of Blood type dungeon where you continued to go through waves and waves of monsters, that I think would be pretty sick. And they could just, scale that and make it harder and harder as you go down.
Mm-hmm.
But doing like a WoW style raid where you and 5 of your friends go and like pull levers or something, like I don't even know what the boss mechanics would even be. Like what are we talking about? Like a mini Karanda or something? Like you move out of the red, you move back in. It's not that like after you do it once or twice, the bosses in this game aren't really that thrilling. I think it's way more about like that Dynasty Warriors feeling.
So it's not instanced. It's something under Valencia Castle that's like an encounter that you're supposed to do with a couple of your friends. And so you just like party up and kill some shit down there. It sounds like, I have a tough time really biting into a lot of this stuff that they talk about at these fucking indoctrination meetings that they have, because it just so little of it has ever come to fruition. I don't even want to talk about conquest wars and shit because I'm so tired of being jerked around about it. But that's what you're 100% right, Moreland, where they should play to the strengths of this game. That bug through the Doom server where there was just a billion mobs being spawned, that looked so much fucking fun. If they literally just turned this into Dynasty Warriors for PvE, it'd be so sick.
Imagine if you got like a stacking buff that like you had to continue killing to keep it on, and there was like an infinite wave dungeon that you were going through, and as you went the mobs got like tankier and tankier, and you had to keep killing faster and faster until you lost the buff and like finally had to give up or something like that. Like there's so many things they could do to get you like pumping and pushing your class to its full potential, rather than just like.
So I don't know if you guys watch anime, but is it Run and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? You go through floor 1 through whatever. And so you start with floor 1, you have to go and fight like, all these mobs, and you go to floor 2 and you have to conquer floor 2, then in floor 3, and then at floor 5 there's a boss you gotta fight. Then there's a safe zone at floor 8, and it's just you're just going down here. I don't know, something like that would be interesting. And I think that would lend to the Dynasty Warrior type thing where you have to clear out the Dynasty Warrior mobs there's hoarding you. Sort of like Altar of Blood, but it's a little different every time you going through it. I don't know. I could see that being interesting.
What does it have to do with anime?
Well, the anime basically has floors that you have to go through. That was the reference.
Anime has floors? Okay.
I've never seen anime. I don't know.
I don't know what that means. I think if they just used Altar of Blood as a baseline and iterated on that and figured out what worked and what didn't, we could easily have like working dungeons in this game that were fun and repeatable and challenging. I thought that was going to happen with Altar of Blood. I was really surprised when they just set it aside and ignored it after they released it.
I think the main thing is I don't like it being an instance. I like the idea of going to a grind spot and grinding it.
It's not instanced. It's not instanced.
Well, I'm saying that's why I think it's a noted improvement on this over Altar of Blood.
Oh, I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think this new spot is going to be an Altar of Blood. From the descriptions that I'm getting from people in chat, it sounds like it's just going to be a group Histria. It's just going to be like a Histria that has group loot.
Bringing back the Ackman 5-man party days, huh?
Oh, God.
Could be fun.
They weren't bad.
They had its upsides and its downsides. They talked about the tier 10 unicorn and that it can run on water.
Jesus horse.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious if this means.
Yeah, I want royalties.
I'm kind of curious if it's like if it's like wades down in the water but it still goes fast, or if it actually runs on top of the water. If it's faster than a boat,
I mean, it'll be like a 30-second water sprint, kind of like how the Pegasus gets a little bit of a glide. It's not going to be anything crazy.
I think it'll just like slowly sink into the water over time. It's like a satire of life.
I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. It'd be nice being able to run over like small creeks and stuff like that. I think that'll be its like main advantage there. Maybe not an ocean horse, but
I don't like tier 10s. What do you think about tier 10s, Car?
I don't spend money on horses, bro. I wouldn't even buy a T9. Fuck that, dude. That's like
game changer, bro. You got to get a T9.
I like the idea of tier 10s. If eventually you can just crossbreed them and like pick like your flavor of horse or like the cosmetic of your horse and bring cosmetics back into it. But the whole daily thing or weekly like quest thing ruins it. Like 100%. Just I'm out. It's just so time gated. So,
yeah, I like that the horses themselves at T10. The process of getting one, I think, needs some significant changes, but
that's the biggest turn
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it is what it is. You're on that 2-year timer, and that's just you just got to win the lottery if you want a T10. It's not for everybody. It's for luckers only.
Hard pass.
Success rate doesn't increase is the craziest thing. So you're constantly slamming a 3% success rate every 2 weeks.
I mean, there's an honest chance that you could do it for 20 years and never get it. That's a realistic option, and that's crazy. If you're
I mean, it's a 3% chance you can also realistically never get it if you do it for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
gambler's fallacy, bro.
Like, statistically, a certain portion of the population is literally guaranteed to never get one, even if they attempt it for years. That's just how randomness works across a large population. Yeah. So unlucky.
I feel like there should be a safety net or increasing odds. Like the whole idea previously of getting fail stacks for it, that was nice because you would know eventually you're going to get it. Maybe it takes you a very long time, but you would get it. So I don't know.
Still possible to never get it, but
if all this thing does is run over water, I can't imagine that someone's going to go through the trouble to get one unless they just think it looks cool. Like that's such an underwhelming ability for a T10, considering how excruciating the T10 process is.
There's some people who enjoy it. I know a few people who are doing it religiously every day and every week.
Well, for the flying one, yeah.
You can fucking fly. Like, who cares about running over water for 30 seconds? I don't know. Maybe the ability will be cooler than that, but I'm not understanding like why you would want to run across a river in this game.
Well, wait. So if you can like full Jesus walk on water, BDO Navy is going to have a whole fucking army of these things.
Are we going to be horse charging each other at Vel?
At Vel? Yep.
It's a requirement now to
horse charge boats down at Vel.
You'll bring your fisher's boat out there just so you can get your horse to water walk across and charge somebody off.
Dude, that would be sick. Honestly, if they just turn horses into the next tier of boats, that would be so funny. Bartering on your horse.
Yeah, Kerr, what's your most excited thing for these Calpheon Ball update? What do you like out of it?
Like the stuff to come or the things that we've got from it?
Stuff to come.
The stuff to come.
No, whatever does matter.
I kind of like how they said something about a trading rework finally, but it's not going to be until second half of next year. That was
hold your breath.
I'm not holding my breath, but at least it shows that they know that it's dead. They said new tier of boat past the Carrick, so even more ocean content. I guess that's kind of cool. They gave us the same old tongue-in-cheek every year where they're like, well, we don't plan on nerfing classes that are too strong. We're going to bring the dead classes up.
Kappa.
So we'll see how that goes. They said that every year.
Tamer 2021, dude.
I need 1,000 AP skill on my Nova class to counter the 1,000 DR that you get from Witch and Wizard.
Yo, I like those hammers though that they gave us. The Jay's hammers. I like those.
Right after you got Pen Blackstar, really?
I mean,
how do I get a Jay?
You put in the code, Moreland.
I put in the code and all I got was 100 stack.
There's 3 codes.
Oh, what's the third one? I only put in 2 codes.
BDO
We
ham,
don't-
JMM for the hammers.
Ham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 M's.
Ham, like
And-
John Ham.
Yeah, you get 2 of the hammers, and each of the hammers is basically like a free pin attempt, right, on any item you want other than accessories. So like weapons and armors.
I heard that they might be coming out with something for accessories though too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't mention this, but the new weapons for the class Nova is going to be a shield offhand again. So it's the same one. It's not different, right? It's the same one.
We've been mentioning that for months.
I think it's a different shield. They
It's
said
gonna
that
be a
what the
different-
name
It's
was.
going to be a tower shield, right? It's not going to be a regular
Yeah.
shield.
Yeah. We didn't know it was a mace though. I don't think we knew it was a mace. We knew that it was going to be a thick shield girl.
They call it
Did
a
we know it was
Morning
mace?
Star, is what they're calling it.
We either knew it was a flail or everyone just guessed that. I don't know, but I was not surprised at all. Like this is all just in my mind, just shit from a data mine 3 months old. So yeah, I don't know.
It comes out December 22nd with the new season, winter season. Have they said anything about the rewards for winter season yet? Like the participation rewards?
They just said more exclusive seasonal rewards. They didn't really say like what the rewards gonna be,
Ooh,
like the Perilla Star or whatever.
that could be anything.
Enticing. Didn't they say in patch notes? Was it patch notes or like Global Labs? They said that they were going to do the Node War rework in like the coming weeks. Didn't they say that recently?
I don't know, dude. I tune it out every time they talk about reworking Node Wars.
I don't think I can pay attention to it either. I think I'm to the point where I tune it out as well.
I will say that last year they announced it. They announced it last year, or I guess maybe early this year during their Untitled Ball is when they announced that. So although it is at the end of the year, everything that they have announced so far has come to pass and been added to the game. So I would take that. I would assume this time that everything that I've mentioned here will come out eventually. It might just be the time frame of when it comes out.
We might have to go back and go down that list, homie. There's no way everything from last year got
One of
released.
the biggest things that was like off the wall, everybody was like, what the fuck, was like the horoscope system. They said they're going to add in a horoscope system where every day of the week is a different horoscope, and that day people get bonuses in horoscope.
That's already in the game. They were just testing the waters to see if you guys would like that being revealed.
No, can we not do this?
That's already in the game. I don't know. It's obvious, right?
All right, so now we move on to other games.
That's actually they mentioned the snow area, new snow area with 2 new grind spots. So that's a huge snow area. There's a huge chunk at the bottom for the snow area for only 2 grind spots. So I'm interested in what that's going to look like.
Well, you still got time to get DR to do, the expansion that came out a couple months ago before you got to worry about that. Got to do Olin's Valley, man. You're going to love it.
Yeah, I need to
keep
get
telling you.
my pin ergons is what I need to do.
Yeah. Make sure you get your DR crystals in your chest too.
Already got them, bro. They're so good.
Okay,
Let's go.
so
dude.
Yeah.
let's just because I'm malding over you saying that everything from last year got released. Let's go through it. Okay, Succession. They did release that. Good job. Papa Cleany Island.
I won't say it was good.
Technically say that Auto Popper Island was released, I guess, if you want to be extremely fucking generous. Papu Otter Island is an abomination. It is the worst thing I've ever seen in an MMO, but it did technically come out. You can put a splotch in the ocean west of Kama Sylvia and say you did something, I suppose. Next thing on the list, Thorn Tree Castle. Gosh, that sounds familiar. When's that coming out again?
Well, they gave us an update on it.
You did
What
upset him. He is molding.
They gave us an update like 3 episodes ago on Global Labs.
The update that's no longer available.
No, it wasn't playable on Global Labs. It was just they gave us an update of what they wanted it to be.
Okay, so does that count as it coming out?
It's a work in progress. My argument is at the time that they do release the things that they're talking about. Within the last year, they've actually been releasing them and working on them. Not that they're all out necessarily.
The bounty system.
My argument is that 20% of what they promise is implemented in a way that is worthwhile. 40% of it is implemented in a half-ass, immediately dead on arrival way, and the other 40% literally never even makes it into the game. It's perpetually pushed back. They've been talking about Conquest War rework and deleting Medaya Castle since what, 2018?
Years.
Maybe I'm generous with it. I think
Very generous.
I think that they are in good faith at trying to accomplish what they've told us they're doing. And something obviously plans change as time goes on and priorities change and stuff like that.
Potion Shop realizes that Pearl Abyss is now going to be the publisher, and he doesn't want to lose his partnership because he's being too rough on him during their Calpheon Ball.
I have no
That's what's
partnership with
happening
Pearl
here.
Abyss. I have no partnership with Pearl Abyss.
Right.
Yeah,
but
not yet. They're not published yet.
They will in February.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's a joke. You're being really kind I just don't.
No,
I'm with Marlon. I just don't agree.
I feel like they've been doing. I think within the last year or so, they've made a marked improvement overall on like the direction of the game, the direction they're trying to take it. And is it perfect? No, but it's the first time. I think the last year I've been somewhat hopeful for the game's future.
Okay, so I think you're just a little premature on this. Like, if we actually had some really good updates, information, or timeline on Thorne Castle, that would go such a long way with me in this entire game. If we had an idea of the timing of these node wars and the updates and what that's going to look like and how it's going to work, or maybe selecting some guilds or people to do some mock things to test it out, anything to kind of move that across. But until that they cross some of these thresholds, we're really in the same spot that we've been in for the past couple of years. Yeah, they did a good job of changing classes and making them more complicated this year under the guise of balancing them. But really, how much does balance really matter when everything's a one-shot meta? Everything's a one-shot meta. The time to kill in this game is 0, unless you got 400 DP, and then the classes aren't even balanced around that. So
I think, like, as a new player, the game is probably better than ever. But as an older player, you can kind of like, you just kind of like out in the wind because they've got the money from you, right? But as a new player, it's definitely like a really good time to play just because of all the changes they've made this year. But yeah,
they've got all these irons or all these balls in the air, but they haven't reached that threshold to where we can really go, yes, this is happening. It's going to be good. It's going to be bad. We're just in this like purgatory, quite frankly.
I think one of the problems that they have is they announce things when they are in the ideas phase, and then they really should be announcing them when they are in the polishing phase, and that's and that's the main issue. Is like I don't think they have bad intentions, but there's this expectation that the Calpheon Ball will happen and they'll announce something, and they have nothing to announce that's in the like they announced something that's 2 years away, the Land of Dawn, right, over in Port Rat. And it's like, why would you announce something 2 years away that's obviously way far away? That the time frame could change, the entire scope could change. Like they might even call it BDO2 by that point. You don't never know. So I think that the problem is they're announcing things that are in the ideas phase instead of announcing things that are in the polishing phase. And that's the core of this problem, is that I don't think that them announcing the whatever update you're unhappy with is necessarily a bad thing. It's just that they're announcing them too early.
Yeah, and that's a great statement.
My point, man. That's my whole point.
Yeah.
Like
that's very fair.
I want to get hyped over this shit. I want to get hyped over Conquest rework or whatever else is in here. But like, I was hyped over Thorne Castle 12 months ago. We still don't even have a testable version of it on the test server. Like, how am I going to get hyped for shit that's more than a year away? I don't even know if I'll be playing this game in a year. Like,
Then anything they announce should be coming out in 3 to 6 months. Anything longer than that should never be announced, in my opinion, because otherwise the same thing happened to you I mean, that's what happened with me and Dregan. We knew about Dregan so far in advance that, like, by the time it was out, I was like, well, it's here, you know? And
I mean, they could be announcing things a year early if they actually had the track record of following through. But like, we can go down the list of, whatever it is, climbing or conquest rework, or like, the other dozen memes that have emerged from these Calpheon balls where they announce stuff that never actually got into the game. If they had a consistent track record, then sure, like I would believe them but I'm like, at this point, it's like, when things get announced, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool.
It's dad telling us he's definitely coming to our basketball game this time. Definitely coming this time.
I will say that I think the way they handled Nova this time, aside from the leak, was really good because it's coming out right away. It's something to get excited for. We know it's coming. It's global release. No one's getting it early. I think they handled that very well. Potentially, depending on how long the new tier 10 takes to come out, that could also be really good. But for almost everything else on this list that they announced, I feel like it's so far away that it's hard to really get excited because, like you said, it could just be very different by the time it gets here.
Let me bring you in a world of console BDO, where all they want is Caphras and Star's End, and all they got was another Guardian. They are still not getting Caphras. They are grinding a scuffed version of Histria because of like lag or something. They can't have all the mobs for 100 and something 20 mil an hour. They've been doing it for years. They don't have Caphras. The most DP tanky person with a meta build has got like 320 DP full pen, right? That has an AP build. Otherwise, you're buying like weird accessories. The time to kill is lower than the frames per second on an Xbox One. It's like they won't give them Caphras, and I can't wrap my mind around. I have a lot of console people that still come into my stream, and so I have to give it a little shout out that they're fucking stupid for not immediately giving them Caphras.
I could see maybe 6 months no Caphras, just so you don't have the paid winners get so far ahead. But right, it's been like a year plus now, right? It's way too long. They should have had that 6 months ago at this point.
They're grinding mansions without.
And they got like a really weird like way that they go by releasing things, because like they had Azula gear on release. Like as soon as Media got released, they had Azula accessories. So that right there alone kind of springboards ahead.
They've super powered through Medaya and Valencia just to get them like stuck in Common Sylvia forever.
Yeah, they like powered through all the early game and like the fun times, right? Where you're supposed to be like having all these like GVGs and all these group spots and things like that, just for them to be able to instantly get full Azula set and then get thrown through Valencia, right?
Okay, so they're getting their mobs back apparently. So history is going to bump up to 150 mil an hour. But apparently the gap between like high-end players and low-end players is really huge, and they're worried about releasing Caphras and increasing that wealth gap, or gear gap rather.
That's no really different though than a brand new player coming to BDO PC right now and starting. And so I don't really see that as a justification, not giving people the content that they want. And honestly, the blowback that they're going to receive by not giving the players Caphras now will be worse than the gear disparity.
Let's keep talking about the banquet stuff. I don't think people care about Caphras on console.
But an interesting thing that I want to talk about actually about the ball is, did you guys hear about the guild home server things where like your guild can like pledge a home server? Like let's say Aftershock made Media their home server. So when they're on Media, they can change between all the Media servers without a cooldown, and they like get bonuses and like being able to flag up instantly on certain guilds when they're on another like server that's not their home server and things like that. That's kind of like an interesting little tidbit, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Anything that gets us around karma.
Well, I think what that does is it at least makes you feel like you're seeing your guildmates all the time, because I know I've been in several guilds and I can't remember the last time I've been like in a guild where I continually saw my guildmates. And even though I played the game with them, I didn't feel like I played the same game. So hopefully that solves that a little bit. What?
I wish they would add some more mechanics to it. Like, I wish you could claim territory in this game and like defend it and have some outcome that was meaningful, and other people could come fuck with you and take it from you.
Did they talk about the content that's like coming out soon, like Doom and stuff like that? I don't see anything on here about Doom.
No, I didn't see anything on here about it.
Isn't that like the next big thing that's coming through? Like, why isn't this like an update on like?
Well, they mentioned like revitalizing older content, so I think that's probably a reference to Doom.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really understand the points of why they put these things on, quite frankly. But anyway, for me, it's
the biggest thing I saw out of this whole thing is that they're supposedly going to be fixing the Z-axis and also fixing the fact that DPS equals FPS, or other way around. If they do either of those two things, honestly, that would be massive.
And they said server lag too, right? Lowering server
and everybody
lag.
gets a free car.
Yeah, that's what they said. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but
well, it's definitely a game engine problem, along with the tick rate. So if they can figure out how to recode that, I mean, I would guess what would happen is it would solve the server lag issue, but create so many bugs in the game that it might be worse. So I'm curious.
Last time they tried it, they just broke farming a little bit, right? Like, who cares? They should have just left it broken.
Everything that was a timed minigame broke. So that means Amity, horse training, fishing, harpooning, all those that were like timed minigames, like playing instruments, all of them broke across the entire game. So we'll have to see.
Dude, the number of people back in 2016 when I made the contribution video, the number of people who commented asking me how I did the milking game, like for a guide on how to do the cow milking game, I was so confused. I was like, how the fuck could anyone fail the cow milking game? It's not like, are these people brain damaged? And then I realized it was a frame rate thing. If you have the wrong frame rate, you can't do the cow milking game. It's actually impossible.
I have like 144, and it is hard. It's like hard mode. It's hard to milk the cows. It could also be that I'm stupid. That's a possibility as well, but I would like to ignore that.
I think higher frame rate makes it easier, but we'll let that pass.
I'm really happy that you've got trained to the point where I'm about to call you an idiot, and then you just call yourself an idiot. So you skip like the whole me being mean to you thing, and you just recognize that that's about to happen to you. Some people would be upset saying that you're stealing my thunder, but I think it's polite.
Well, who says you can't train an old dog new tricks?
Your old dog, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm 100% sure that my next YouTube video guide is going to be how to milk cows, and I'm going to at your YouTube. I'm going to do it. We put so many ads in that too. I'm sorry. I'm grinding Cycria like an asshole. I need to pull up the thing and take a look at what else was talked about. So comments about like so they basically just said they're gonna fix the game. They're gonna take DPS away from FPS. They're going to fix the net code or server lag or whatever the case is. Like, I'll give all of you $10 for each one of those things that they fix within 2021.
I think they could fix the FPS thing. That Z-axis I'm a little bit more skeptical about, but I think they can fix FPS equals DPS. It's not as much of an issue with the newer classes. They just have to go through. Here's the thing: like, they don't even have to fix the game necessarily. They just have to fix the abilities that are broken. Even if they just have to go through and redo some of those little bits. If they actually fix the way that FPS affects combat as a whole in this game, that would be insane. I don't think most people even realize how much FPS affects even things like the speed at which you move when you're being hit. Like, if you're in a large scale fight and you're taking damage from multiple sources, your character's movement like physically slows down, like you're walking through water almost. And if you have a higher FPS, you can clear that and like move out of it more quickly. It's things like that people don't even realize is happening. They would have a massive impact. But I mean, that's also stuff that like isn't nearly as flashy as saying we have a new class or a new region. So I haven't seen them prioritize that. It was going to be great if they'd start, though, if they actually start paying attention to like fixing the problems in the game. That would be huge.
And they're also going to release the Wall Beyond Port Rat.
2 years from
We
now.
talked about
In a
that.
couple years. Yeah, in a couple years.
They said within 2 years. The Asian-inspired area.
Potion can find his.
They didn't call it Oriental, did they?
It's not the Orient, so
It's the intent that matters, all right? I'm really curious what they're going to do with this big area. If they're only going to do 2 grind spots for the entire snow area, I mean, I'm just curious what they're going to do for the rest of it, because there's Odalita Part 2, there's the lower half of Medea, and then there's the whole snow area, which is like half of the area below on the map. And if that's only 2 grind spots, I don't know.
All they have to do is just add pirates. There's only needs to be 1 grind spot.
They're really calling the new place Hanzo?
Hasso. Hasso is the land over at Port Rat.
Yeah, it's already called that.
Yeah.
Hasso. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's like Serindia, right? And then the capital city, or one of the cities, is Port Rat.
Got it. I see it. I thought that was an N.
And in the Land of Dawn, I'm not sure what that is. Originally it said Land of Demons, which was the area above Valencia. And I'm not sure if that's the same thing as what they're talking about now with the Land of Dawn. But the Land of Dawn, they say within 2 years is the Port Rat area. So I'm not sure what happened to Land of Demons, or I don't know. It seems like there's a part of it missing. I need to go through and watch the entire thing instead of looking at cliff notes for it.
Have fun with that. I don't know. A lot of the stuff is pie in the sky and things that they've already said. So, you know, it's a lot of, there was a lot of really interesting things that came out of the Untitled Ball. This is more like, hey, we could do this, or we're going to do this. I feel like this was really an announcement. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. What if this is just an announcement that they're getting rid of Cacao Games? And we all had a good laugh about it. But look what happened. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that for a little bit?
We should, yeah.
So I've been real vocal for a real long time about my distaste. So I'm going to take a back seat on this conversation, and I'd be very interested in what you guys have to say or think about it.
Well,
yeah, I think it's been necessary for a long time. A lot of people blame Cacao for X, Y, and Z. A lot of people blame Pearl Abyss for X, Y, and Z. I think the two companies just have never worked well together. I think there's been some animosity and a lot of disrespect from the start. Like the way that they communicate and the way they interact, from what I've seen, has been, it just hasn't like worked out. I don't know if they just didn't have clashing cultures or what, but the two companies have clearly not gotten along for a while. And so regardless of like whose fault what is, I think it's high time that they part ways. I think I remember, we've talked about this before, but I mean, I remember at TwitchCon, what was this, TwitchCon 2018, when we were doing the huge event with Cacao, the huge tournament, and Pearl Abyss had their own booth there. And we didn't even know, like Cacao wasn't even aware that Pearl Abyss had a booth until like we got there and we're setting up and we saw Pearl Abyss across the convention hall. Like, that kind of thing to me is just so weird, just like so little interest in actually collaborating. And I mean, you know, being in the partner Discord and asking Cacao a question and having to wait a week or 2 weeks, or, you know, in the case of like this trading exploit, we were waiting well over a month now to get a response from Pearl Abyss. Like, there's just absolutely no communication or like respect or goodwill between the two companies. And I think everyone's ready to just move on.
Yeah, like I don't want to completely spit roast Cacao, because I imagine that like there's only so much they can do. But I do think it's kind of fucked, honestly, that they make so much money off of this game, and when there's like a game breaking issue, or if there's like something that the community wants to know that we can't really get an answer, you know what I mean? Like you would think that with all the money they make, especially off the NA region, like from all the Pearl sales and shit, you would think they would have a way they could just pick up a phone or send an email to somebody, right? Instead of it going straight to the paper shredder.
And that's how it was on console. Like when we had issues on console, we would ask through the console partner program, and we would get a response like same day for all of our issues. Like even if it was a, you know, this like not the response we wanted, we would at least get the answer. We wouldn't have to like just sit there and be like, oh, please respond. Like,
Yeah, we felt
the way that
respected.
Pearl Abyss just leaves Cacao on red is like so preemptive.
I mean, honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to spit roast Cacao and say it's their fault, but it kind of seems like there's a disconnect somewhere, and that hopefully that PA self-publishing it kind of somewhat gives us a little bit, like maybe, you know, a little bit of a like communication, even if they say, oh, we can't fix this, or oh, blah, 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 blah. Like you said, if it's not the answer you want, you at least get some kind of communication, right? So you're not just tossing stuff into the void.
Well, we've had 2 XCMs on this podcast, right? And they painted a relatively decent picture of kind of this issue of plausible deniability. I think is one of the biggest things that get in the way here. You know, you go, well, we're not getting an answer, or this is happening, or that happens, and we're forced to assume that it has something to do with one of the 2 companies, but we can't really pin it on one or the other. And so, you know, there's a little bit of tongue in cheek, or, you know, we stand behind our partners, or, you know, whatever corporate talk they want to give us. But at the end of the day, and I said this in my video that I made today, like a 10-minute video talking about, you know, there's plenty that Cacao Games has directly done wrong. That's their own fault, mishandlings, you know, just from my own personal experience, you know, not even like other people's stories. But I think it really all boils down to, and the real benefit here is that there was so much lost in that in between, in this tension between these 2 companies. And I think the only people that really lost was honestly the average player. And then, you know, like the Afaru maps and all that, these big problems, you know, the IDC payouts and stuff like that. I've been meaning to tell you, Moreland, the guy that I was complaining about that got too much stuff taken away, he threatened to charge back, and he got the stuff that he was complaining that got taken away. He got it taken back, or he got it put back. And
Nice.
GM Rotaz sent Fresh a message thanking him for how polite and kind he was dealing with the permanent ban, and invited him to rejoin the game on a new account, and wished him luck if he did decide to do so.
I mean,
that?
I think that's probably fine if hackers and cheaters
Weird, isn't it?
on a new account. I mean, that's how it's been, right? Like all the hackers and cheaters in Snake are all on new accounts now. No one cares about that. So, I mean, it's pretty standard.
I just thought it was weird. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe we're all used to it. And it's a little Stockholm syndrome, but it felt weird.
Bro,
to
some
me.
of the people at Snake are on like their 4th account. I mean, everyone knows. It's not like a secret. I don't even think they like change their email addresses or anything. They just start over.
Anyway, so I think just like, again, from the personal experience that you and I had, Moreland, of just being able to go, hey, here's an issue. There's the answer, even if it's not one that we like. There's no finger pointing or ambiguity or anything like that. I think this is going to be a super, super positive change that will have growing pains, especially for you BDO partners and stuff, going back and forth. And, you know, they definitely expect more. The previous partner manager that was there, you know, there was guidelines that had to be adhered to, and they checked, and there's colored titles for partners in game and console, and a bunch of cool stuff, and constant retweets, you know, not just when a couple people piss off Emraid and get him off his ass to actually do something. So
like,
I think there'll be a lot of positive changes.
What kind of like things did they like you know what I mean? Like, what kind of things did they like require of you?
What do you
I don't
mean?
know if that's anything you could like talk about, because like the current, you know, we currently have the BDO partnership thing with the Cal. Well, that's getting deleted. They told us yesterday that the current BDO partnership program thing is being absolved, so everybody will have to reapply under Pearl Abyss's like partnership program. And I imagine they're completely different, right?
You can actually, the one that we have was modeled after the Pearl Abyss one. There's some fine details that are different, but they added theirs to their website first, and then Cacao looked at that and decided to do their own version of it. There are differences. I'd like to shine some light on what they did when they moved away from Cacao in Korea and became self-published in Korea. What they did is they did their own event. They did their own self-publishing event. You had 1 month to basically log in with your account and say, hey, and transfer it to the new Black Desert. You had about 1 month to do that. And then if you did that, then you got all these rewards, and there's a new website for it. So we can probably expect a new website that will have to transfer our account over to Pearlbis, and there'll be some way of doing that with a verification process. And then there'll be some huge event that will go along with all of that. And then they'll go right into the anniversary. Was it 5-year anniversary? I think is what it'll be. They'll go right into the 5-year anniversary, which will be a month-long event as well. And so that's what I think we can kind of expect. As far as the partner program, I don't think it'll be too much different than what we have right now. I think it'd be fairly similar.
Do you know what the partner?
It'll probably have to have X concurrent viewers or X subs on YouTube. You'll apply, and then they'll take a look at you. I don't think they're just going to auto accept everyone the way that Cacao did. I don't know if Cacao read the apps or opened them. I think they just clicked yes on everybody who applied. But so I think it'll be a little bit harder to get into. But all in all, I think the main thing is that, like Tim said, we're going to have fewer layers to go through when we need to get an answer to something. Like right now, person A has to send it to person B, who has to send it to person C, and we have no idea. There's no accountability. We have no idea how many steps we're going through at Cacao before something even gets to Pearl Abyss, and then how many steps it's going through at Pearl Abyss before it gets to the person who needs to hear it. There's just so many extra people who don't need to be involved, who are clogging the process. The main benefit is just getting rid of some of that clutter.
Yeah, I'm really curious if they're going to hire more people to work in Korea, because the way console currently is Sean
They'll almost certainly run it through the North America office. I doubt that any Korean employees are going to run the partner program. It's going to be like console. They're just going to extend console and mobile to
the console CMs. They live in two of them. What is it, Sherna, and what's that one?
Yeah, but that's not the partner program. The partner program was run by people in the LA office.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So I got a sneak peek. The BDO partner program for Pearl Abyss actually has an NDA attached to it, and I got a sneak peek of what they were going to offer. They kind of revamped it before he left, and there was things like not having to buy your own buffs. Certain expectations. It has an NDA, so I don't want to give too much away. Even though I didn't sign it, I was able to take a quick peek at it. Colored titles, a little bit more teeth to being an actual BDO partner, something that has intrinsic value to it. So I would expect to see a massive revamp of that, because I can promise you from firsthand experience that they know what a terrible job Cacao Games has done with quite a few different scenarios. And I would expect them to come in with a pretty juiced up partner program ready to go.
Well, I think it's also like they wanted to come in and improve that they are better, just so that they leave a good flavor, with the creators, and start off on a really, really strong foot, so that we promote the game for them and all that.
Maybe we're all kind of self-entitled, self-important pricks too, so they may just not care about us either.
One of the biggest things that I'm excited about the transfer for, which is this is a completely different segue, but old names being recycled, which is the first time they've done this in BDO for old accounts that haven't played in forever.
You're not going to say the name you want, are you?
Oh, of course not, dude. But
dude,
basically,
I'm gonna get Legolas. Dude. I'm getting Legolas. You're not gonna get.
According to the site, they said we have a X amount of time to transfer. So names that were previously held by accounts will become available again. We will continue to offer data migration for several months after the initial transfer date. Once that process is finalized, any names on accounts that did not transfer will become available again. So basically, names that from people that haven't played the game in years and years, original names, will be available again. So
what about people who got banned?
Well, they had to transfer their account. So if they don't transfer it,
I'm gonna be not fresh. Hell yeah!
I was gonna say I kind of want to be avid.
Who doesn't? Oh, we could be McCann's.
I feel like there needs to be something right, you could be McCann's, you could be Wall of Kai, you could be. I could grab Moreland.
McCann's, dude.
Abilities of who it could be, dude.
Yeah, it says, what about banned accounts?
Estimate,
Your account must
yeah.
be in good standing to be eligible for data transfer. So I guess, maybe.
Let's fucking go, dude.
I guess.
Bro, there's no way that you get Tim Allen. There's no way you get Tim Allen or Moreland or Potion Shop. They're just gonna be taken instantly.
Bro, you're gonna have to Potion. You're gonna have to name change to Jeffy the Wise, please. Please be Jeffy the Wise.
Oh, I forgot Jeffy got banned. That's sad.
Yeah, it is.
Free Jeffy. Free Kai. Fuck everyone else on that list.
I can't even name anybody with Kai, Jeffy, and Zanara. I think that's the only people I really actually know. Anyway. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun having people reapply to the BDO partner program. I hope one of the questions is, have you been convicted of exploiting?
Only 5 times. I got convicted of manipulating Forest Furies, manipulating Life Spirit Stones, manipulating Cadre Rings.
Yeah, how'd that go with the Life Spirit? You bought all those Life Spirit Stones and they're still on the market. Do you feel good about your decision?
I'm currently grinding up 11,000 of them.
How much money did you spend again?
It was like 10 bill, I think. I don't know.
Did you sell your boots for them?
Wait, you spent 10 bill buying fucking spirit stones?
Yeah,
Listen,
you don't remember this?
I didn't hear about. Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
Listen, they're going to sell out. It's just a matter of time.
He went full blade Boquez on these spirit stones.
You bought 10 bill. Wait, the life stone.
My problem is that I don't have enough space to store them. I can't even Blade Boquest store them.
That's the problem.
You spent 10 bill on these, bro.
I have 11,393 right now.
You're making me ugly laugh, dude.
Oh my
Were they the
God,
destruction
dude.
ones or the life ones?
Life ones.
Oh no,
Oh, man.
Oh no.
Oh no. It's fine. Don't worry. They will go up in value.
At least the destruction ones is having an uptick right now. They're at 900 mil, but
they're going to go up. I'm not worried about it.
I am so lucky that we are friends. You're just a constant blessing in my life.
oh fuck, dude.
How many do you have? You have 11,000?
Oh, I did have 12,000, but I grinded up 1,000 since we've been podcasting. So yeah, 11,393 is what's currently my storage, like in my warehouse.
Okay. It's a decent chunk of all-time sales.
Lord, bro.
Were you not concerned about like getting banned for doing something like? I feel like anytime I like come back from AFK and hit like 2 perfects on my fishing, or I buy too much stuff off the marketplace, I feel like red flags go up. Did you not like get concerned or anything about that?
Well, I've just done this so many times, I'm not worried about it. No, but I mean, in all honesty, unless you're using 2 accounts, I think that's the only time you could get in trouble for it. Otherwise, you're just making an investment.
I actually have a lot of emails from Cacao Games GM saying that having 2 accounts and doing that is in no way a breach of TOS.
Well, I mean, don't tempt me at this point. Might just buy myself 11,000 Spirit Stones on my other account then. What are you guys going to spend your Cron Stones on? We're getting 1,300 Cron Stones. What are you spending them on?
Yeah, I wish I knew that before I went for
And 3 hammers, which is like pin attempt on any
Wait,
weapon
you got
or
3
armor.
hammers? I only got 2. Where's the
You
third
get
one?
2 from the little code, and you'll get 1 in your mail on Wednesday. So you'll have 3 hammers, and then everyone gets 300 Kaffir stones, a shit ton of like 80, 60, 40
I don't think
fail
Ark
stack.
will ever recover from that. 300 Kaffirs for everyone?
Yeah.
How many people? You have to put in a code though, right? It's not like literally.
No, it's straight to your mail. The way I understand it.
So
straight to your
everyone,
mail.
actually everyone gets it.
Straight to the mail.
Yeah, we're about
It says rewards
new
handed
Kaffir
out
market
by
over here.
mail after 16th of December maintenance. 1,300 Cron stones, 300 Kaffir stones, a 7-day comma, 300% EXP scrolls, 5 J scrolls, 121 million silver. I don't know how they got that number. Fine accessory box, Tungrad accessory box, 40 fail stacks, 60, 80, another Jay's Hammer of Loyalty, and 2 weeks hot time of 300% EXP. So a lot of shit.
We might have like 2.5 mil gaffers soon.
For a little while.
I don't know. I mean, it's not that people need to buy it. Like, that's just a huge number.
Apparently, you
I'm
have to have
working-
logged in the past month to get that stuff. So
I'm working on a pen ogre right now, so not really interested in that stuff. But I do have a couple of costumes and some cron stones saved up for my try Dead God attempts. So that's where mine's going to go for.
Blackstar attempts for free with the hammer.
Oh no, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm putting that on my Black Star. I'm putting the hammers on my Black Star. I'm not putting that on my fucking.
I was about
Dead
to say,
God.
bro. I was like, yo,
Borland's gonna go for Dead God on his hammers. Holy shit!
I might take a swing at Dead God. I'm thinking about it.
You better take 3, homie.
I don't have a stack. That's the problem.
Oh, you got time. You got 150 stack.
the hammers don't. The hammers get deleted March 31st, so you got a while.
How do these hammers work?
Yeah, but we're gonna have Black Star Awakening before then, right? So the smarter choice would be to go for Black Star Awakening with the hammers, but I might have to chuck one at the Dead God.
Well, how do these hammers work? Just so people who don't know.
So basically, you take the hammer. Let's say you have a Tet Dandy and you want Pin Dandy for whatever reason. You take this hammer, you use the hammer on the Tet Dandy. So then next time you click enhancement on it, if it fails, nothing changes about the item. It stays Tet.
So I need to go figure out how to get 100 bill right now and go buy a pin Black Star when people make them.
Wailing Dead God is not allowed to be enhanced with a hammer. Get fucked, Marlon.
Says who? I don't have Wailing. I have Silent.
Right, but going to Wailing, you can't. Apparently, you can't do Tet.
Yeah, that sounds fake. Link, proof or ignored.
He said link proof.
Are there any other limitations? Are there any other limitations like going for pin Black Star?
Weapon
All I
and
see is it can be applied to the following items that have been enhanced to try and above: Artina Soul, Dragon Slayer, all boss armor and weapons, all Black Star armor and weapons, Fallen God's armor enhanced to Desperate and above. I don't see any caveats about Wailing. That
Okay,
sounds like
cleared up.
Misinformation.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't Potion this time. A Wailing attempt is only 2.7 bill though. Isn't Pin Black Star like twice that much?
3.7, baby. 376.
3.7? Okay. We'll see. Do we know how much it is for Awakening? Is it the same as main hand?
I haven't touched it at all on Global Labs.
I want to pen Black Star main hand, man. I'm gonna do that. If I don't get a pen ogre by then, I'm gonna tap my 205 or whatever it is, 202 stack on that shit 3 times.
I think a lot of people are gonna sell it. I think there's gonna be like fucking 50 pin Black Stars hitting the market on that day, dude. I think people are gonna not be able to resist the 100 bill.
If I get a fucking pen Black Star or a pen ogre in the next couple weeks, I am going to get so many RBF kills with Succession Guardian. It's gonna be fucking insane.
Wouldn't you want to just buy, bro? Pin Laytons are like, you can get one for like 74 bill or less right now.
I don't chop trees for 300 mil an hour. I have to work for my silver.
Maybe
I won't either soon because remember, Calpheon is going to crash next week.
Yeah,
so I don't think anybody will be chopping trees for 300 mil.
I don't think it's going to crash. I just think it's going to
dip.
It's probably going to permanently change the price from here on out.
I mean, 2.4 mil, 2.5 mil forever. That's kind of a big cut. If you're getting like 70 Calphers per hour, 70 times losing 500K a piece, like that's a pretty big shift in silver per hour.
Honestly. Yeah, but think of all the silver you're going to save from the Calphers that you're going to be buying for cheaper.
I mean, yeah, that's true. If you'll be using it, yeah.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have a lot of dry humor here.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes.
So, what things do you think the communication chain between Probus taking over for publishing, what do you think is going to change? Like, what would you expect to change?
I think they're going to come in guns blazing, honestly. I think they've wanted this for a long time. I think they've got resentment towards Cacao Games. I think they're going to come in and prove that they can do it better. They've already practiced in other regions, so there will be growing pains for sure, but I don't think they'll be major. But I think it's going to be so much positive. I think one of the smartest things they could possibly do is put a big fucking "we approve of this" stamp on the BDO library and really kind of dig into that in a major way.
That'd be
I think
huge.
that would be a really, really great way to early just intertwine themselves with the community in a palpable way, because it's so well run. It is so well run, and it's already been useful to Cacao Games, as Good Vibes Guy and a couple other people have noted, that they already kind of know it. If they don't know that it exists, they need to know that it exists, and they need to put a fucking stamp of approval on it in a somewhat official way.
Yeah, I could see that. I kind of want to see working with the community in order to address some of the bigger issues in the game, or figure out what things are fun or not fun, and kind of like help the game improve. And not necessarily the big picture type stuff, but I'm just talking like the small things like PA. Like that's going to be something that if that doesn't get addressed with the community feedback with Pearl Abyss, then I feel like we're back where we were with Cacao Games just about, because that's the biggest community issue that we have and we've had for a long time, and we've never got that addressed. So if that gets addressed like as soon as Pearl Abyss takes over, then I think that's a great first step.
I still talk to all the CMs at Pearl Abyss Xbox. CM Valtara, she's really nice. She reaches out to me every once in a while, even just to say hi. Trent and Sherna, I used to talk to Trent about music all the time. Sherna would help moderate the Discord. Everybody knew who they were. There was streams. They talked about patch notes. They didn't know a ton about the game, but they learned as time went on and they got better. They reached out to their partners, and if they had a question, we'd all work together. It was a partnership. And so I think we're gonna now we don't have to deal with rat shitty fucking CMs like cabs that do nothing and you have no idea what their job is. And we're actually going to have relationships and contact with community managers, and they're actually going to reach out to the community. I think that's probably going to be one of the biggest changes.
Why are you calling some guy a rat? That's mean. I don't even know who you're talking about.
Well, that's kind of the point too. But he is a rat. Don't worry.
We want to talk about other games, or is there something else we need to talk about for Black Desert? Global Lab. Is there anything on there that we need to talk about?
There was like a little Odalita hunting kind of change, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a chance to try it out yet. They basically made it so that Odalita hunting mobs, after hunting them for X amount of time, there's an RNG chance that a boss will spawn, sort of like at Turos. And killing that boss has a higher chance, quote, of dropping like the rare drop to make the master match lock and more materials and things. But I haven't tested
So an Afaru for hunting.
Like there's actual new items or new mobs to hunt too, right? Or are all the new mobs bosses?
The new mobs are bosses. They're like special versions that spawn after you hunt them for X amount of time. And then they also did the change where now at nighttime, monsters worldwide in the game have a 10% drop rate boost.
Whoa.
During nighttime. So that was pretty cool. That was something I was like, yo, the EXP is kind of cool, but it's kind of outdated. So having the 10% drop,
I believe that was a suggestion from this podcast.
Yeah, we actually talked about that.
You're welcome, Pearl Abyss. I know you're listening.
What else?
They said darkness predation efficiency. They have something in here about making armor and weapons stronger. I'm wondering if this is what they're talking about for like Hadoom.
Maybe. This notes report. Are you looking at BD Foundry?
No, I'm just looking at the regular ones.
Here we go again.
Look at the Foundry. The Foundry's nice.
Listen, I'm stubborn, all right?
They dumb it down.
He won't do it because of how big of a deal Tim made out of it. Now he can't. He has to stick to his gun and keep going through the shitty translation.
Being
It's
friends
true.
with you is such a fucking roller coaster, dude. I'm literally trying to help you. I used to do the same thing you did, and it was a fucking nightmare. And then I found Beanie Foundry was Johnny on the spot with it. It was
You
kind
just
of
bought
life changing.
3 more weeks.
Especially since we run a
Tim.
podcast where we talk about this shit every fucking week, and you're like, "Oh, the translation's so bad." Just fucking do it.
You just bought 3 more weeks of non-Foundry translations.
You're the reason I drink.
I want to say sorry about that, but we have more patch notes to go through. They made
How
a
the fuck would you
anything
know? They're in
significant on Mobile Legends?
Korean. I'm done. We do other games.
they did some additional changes to the classes in here. So if interested in individual classes, they made some changes to Zerker, Warrior, Valkyrie. It looks like Wizard and Witch.
Every week. Is there anything huge? Did they remove PA?
Let me see what they did for Wizard and Witch.
They basically buffed the Rabam, the third Rabam skills. They've buffed a decent bit of them.
Warrior
For
ones?
Wizard?
So they added like a frontal guard to who
No
was it?
way.
They added a frontal guard to archers. They added some protection and some stuff to some other ones. I forget all of them off the top of my head. I haven't looked at it since Thursday.
Well, they added more for Grand Prix, so you can now see the a preview of the race course when you select it. I mean, I still don't think it's where it needs
For
to
what?
be for like the horse racing. You can now see a
For Grand-
preview of the racetrack and like the where you have to go on it. So
But it's only for pricks?
yeah, only for pricks. The the hunting monsters. Do you think they're gonna be good?
Probably
I think it'll be
won't
better
listen to
than
you.
the current ones. So
I'm not sure, bro. I'm
can't
not
be
touching
worse,
that
right?
shit though.
They have like they have like an aura to them now. It looks like they're have like a spirit perfume.
Oh, well,
When
yeah,
they're like-
those are the bosses. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool. It looked pretty
how
cool.
was it for XP? Or was it decent XP, Odalita hunting?
It's about half to a third of Feather Wolves, so not very good.
oof.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Worse EXP, worse money, worse. Just yeah.
Maybe it'll be good gathering XP.
Even if it's just lets people get the master match lock sooner, so they don't have to suffer through 30 mil an hour for 20 hours.
They buffed Devour for everyone except Biohack.
Well, of course. I mean, if they're gonna look for enhancing tips, they're gonna go to what Biohack's doing and not buff that.
Some
What
of
is
these are
that?
not terrible. You can Devour a Pry for 28 stacks. Like, I mean, some of these might be usable now. Maybe.
Wow, they changed the animation on the Awakening for Warrior, and it looks crazy now. I think it's the 200% or 100%. It looks insane.
Wait, does it look yellow?
Yeah, it's like a yellow effect to it. It's last week's.
Oh no,
Gold
that was the core skills. That was another thing. They made it so that it's more visible when someone uses a core ability, because like currently there's kind of a little effect, but you can't really see it. They made it so the abilities have like a yellow kind of hue to them, so you can tell which ability someone has selected as their core skill.
Ah.
That was a pretty good change. That was a pretty good
Yeah.
change that happened last week.
We were complaining about that. We were like, well, now there's RNG.
Yeah, it's like how do you know which one to
So
watch out for? And what
You
they
can fight
have,
him
so-
one time, and the second time you'll know what to look for him.
Are they fucking listening to our shitty podcast?
No,
Maybe.
definitely not.
I hope not. If you work at Pearl Abyss, please turn this off.
Wait, the Warrior Rabam is becoming a protected float.
Wait,
What is?
what's becoming a protected float?
The new Warrior Rabam, it's just a regular kind of like shitty float right now, and they're making it a protected float. It
Yeah,
has
they had a
four-
frontal.
That's
And
pretty good.
they raised this cooldown from 6 seconds to
Oh, never
13, I
mind.
think.
Never mind. The float is only against monsters, so it's just
Oh,
a
thank
forward
God.
guard.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Damn, dude, I wanted a protected float. That sounds
Listen,
nice.
that's like you ask a warrior, and he's always going to ask for buffs for warrior. You ask a Zerker, he's always going to ask for buffs for Zerker. That's just how things are. If you ask
Some
Potion
people's
Shop,
missing
all
objectives
classes should be
man.
worthless. No, I don't know. It seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, these are solid buffs to the newer bombs
Yeah.
for a lot of classes.
Seem pretty decent. I think that's
Yeah, and then they put a note at the bottom that said that the classes that weren't touched this week will be touched next week. So
Ooh, I want to be touched. I mean, by a
Yeah.
bomb.
All right, that's fine. We'll see those when they get into the regular patch notes. It's probably only a couple weeks away.
Mhm.
I think we should talk about other games.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Cyberpunk and some other stuff. What do you guys want
Let's
to
talk
start
about Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk 2077, most anticipated game of the last decade.
So
I think it's like an 8 out of 10.
I had an interesting experience with it. I found out, like, I bought it and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this YouTube thing. This will be fun. Like, I don't want to stream it, but I'll record when I have some time to play and do some camera stuff and make some content and enjoy a different game. One of my biggest regrets of streaming only BDO for the last couple of years is I missed out on some great games. So I didn't want to miss out on the most anticipated game of the millennium. Thanks, Keanu Reeves. And so I bought it. I started getting through it, and it had like all these stupid extra special effects that made it run like shit, and like all the film grain and garbage. And I really just hated the way that the game looked. I started as a corpo in the game, and the
Same.
story was like really forced and awkward, and I really didn't like it. And all the like extra text that you could have was pretty cheesy. And an hour and a half into the game, my Alt F4 stopped my recording and returned it. And then,
Really?
yeah, and I went to bed. And as I was going to bed, I was like, maybe I'm just being a little grumpy bitch because I woke up early that day for like I was excited for the game, so I was like lacking sleep. So I'm like, fuck. I woke up the next day. I watched you stream it for a little bit. I did a little research on the game itself because I really didn't know anything about it. I repurchased it, and I've been pretty hooked ever since. So I'm only like 4 or 5 hours into it. What?
I'm glad you gave it another try. I think it's a really
Mine
solid
too.
game. I think it's been getting too much hate, but I mean, almost justifiably, because the reason it's getting so much hate is because it got so overhyped to begin with that like it was never going to live up to even a fraction of people's expectations. People were acting like this game was the fucking second coming. And I mean, it's a solid game. I'm going to play it. I'm going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's not game of the decade. It's not even game of the year, but it's really good. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's like I'm excited for all the things in the game that I haven't discovered yet because I feel like there's still going to be quite a bit. But I honestly I think the game is not going to see its full potential until the modding community really gets to work. It reminds me of Elder Scrolls in the sense that like the base game is a bunch of unmet potential, and that once the modders get a hold of it, it's 10 times better. And I think Cyberpunk's going to end up being the same way.
And they've already released like the modding capabilities of it already. So there's people already working on mods.
The game could be so good with a couple mods, like even just minor things that could make the game so much better.
I think it might feel a little bit more like Fallout to me, and probably the mod expectations that I have right now for it too. More so than like a Skyrim or something like that. But
I tell you what, I haven't played it. I've just been watching. I've watched 4 or 5 different streamers play through different parts of it. It gives me a lot of vibes of not the Badlands. What's it called? The one where you had Borderlands. Yeah, it gives me a lot of Borderlands vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that if you give it the GTA Online experience, which I think they're working on, and you give it some Borderlands guns with mods, like that could just be such an insane experience because the city feels so alive. The theme is so strong with it. I think it's going to be I think once that online comes out, it's just going to destroy the GTA Online scene completely.
They actually have online.
I
think they've
teased about it.
Yeah, that's a rumor that they've been teasing.
Yeah. They were saying like a year after release or something, but who knows?
I fully disagree with you on that, Potion Shop. I don't think that this game could possibly hold a candle to what GTA 5 Online is. I think that the city and the ambiance and all that kind of stuff is very forced and melodramatic, and I just don't. And it's kind of small and tight, where GTA is a much more open and breathable world. I really don't think that Cyberpunk has the potential of anything close to be even compared to GTA 5. This is such an underachievement compared to GTA 5 in every sense of the word.
I don't know. I like the world and the ambience quite a bit, but I also never played GTA 5, so I don't have a comparison. But I do agree that the world is kind of tight. It's kind of like packed in. It's a little too dense.
I think
I also think that they kind of
feel like that, though. It's supposed to feel kind of like it's got that dystopian, like everyone's stacked on top of each other. I think that's by design. So
I think that, and they also kind of cater to different audiences, right? Where like GTA, they kind of crave that little free roam, do whatever, player made, like other player driven content, right? Like your content is interacting with other people and the things that happen in the game. Whereas, like you said, Cyberpunk is that like futuristic, dystopian kind of like feel. So I think they kind of have two different like target audiences. What do you think? I don't think it's a good idea to compare the two. Maybe to Saints Row would be a better comparison in a sense, but I don't think it. I think them and GTA are kind of different, right?
I'm more thinking like the RP side of it. That's kind of what I was leaning towards, but maybe I should have clarified that, because I think the RP side is wide open, and I think GTA's dated graphics and stuff is what might hold it back now.
Oof.
It definitely has ERP potential, like
out the ass.
I mean, dick sliders, tit sliders. It's got everything you need.
Memes aside, I think that this game is exactly zero groundbreaking. I think it's a good game, but I think that bringing up, when you compare this next to a GTA, and I'm sorry that you haven't played it, but the open world and the immersion and the polish on a Grand Theft Auto game has always been excellent, just supreme. And the nuance that they build within the environments, the world of Liberty City or Vice City or whatever they do, has always been and likely will always be ahead of its time. I would put the achievements that this has done as an RPG next to Fallout 4 or GTA 4. I think it's behind its time with a lot of the things that it's done, but it is a fun game with some clunky UI and inventory management and talent build things. But, hopefully the modded community can come in and save the skeleton of the game.
Yeah, it has been pretty fun to watch for the most part. I can jump in on any stream and just be like immediately immersed in what's going on.
I'm not totally sure if they've done anything that's like truly new with Cyberpunk. Just thinking about it, it does feel kind of like Borderlands, Elder Scrolls, like a mix of a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily feel like anything is really broken ground.
Feels like Fallout like really wanted to be GTA, and they gave it a real good try.
Yeah, I mean, but I still think, just from watching it though, it is good for what it is, but I just don't think anything could have lived up to the hype, right? That's not to like shit on the game. It's just more so that literally nothing could have, even if Jesus Christ popped up today, it could never live up.
Oh, I still don't understand. Like, what started? Oh, did he cut out?
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah, like you just couldn't live up to the hype, right? Like,
don't hire Keanu Reeves, man. It creates too much fucking hype.
Was that the problem?
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
I didn't even know he was in the game until someone told me.
Yeah, he's like the flagship staple. He's the staple of the game.
They brought him out on the stage at one point to like help promote the game, and people were like, "Oh!" And it's like that was just the rap at that point. At that point, that's when they went past whatever was ever possible for them to develop.
What did they promise in development that had people pissing their pants? Was it literally just Keanu and then Witcher fans? Like, that combination of things made people think it was going to be like the best game ever made.
Customizable dicks, waiting. It's like a bunch of compounding things, because the game has like been 8 years coming. Like, it's been in the process of being made for 8 years now, right?
It looks like it's been in development for 9 years.
Yep.
Yeah, one thing.
So it's just like,
One thing that I saw that is kind of strange is like looking at like before and after of like the same cutscenes. People like have like one of the female main characters. You see her in one, she's like, but she's like 11 out of 10 in real life, right? It's like this doesn't exist. And then they made her uglier in the finished version of the game in order to like not make people feel awkward about it. Like so if you actually look at her in like previews from like 3 years ago and like the trailers they have for like the cutscene, she looks way more beautiful and way more crisp than she does even today.
This sounds like a 4chan post. I gotta be honest.
No, well, they gave her like a bigger nose. They gave her like they made her like a little less detailed for textures and stuff like that.
I love women with bigger noses.
Oh yeah, it's not.
You're trying to say people with big noses aren't attractive, Posh?
Yeah, what the
trying to say?
fuck, dude?
I'm
What
just
the
saying,
fuck?
like, if you looked at
Are
the
you
before
bringing
and
up,
after,
like,
you could
the
tell there's a
nose?
large difference. I got a big nose too here. Look at this thing. This thing's really long.
A large nose difference? Yeah, we get it, dude. You hate big noses. Got it.
So I don't know. I think that the game's been in development for such a long period of time. One of the things that I know back in the day is that the NVIDIA was promoting the game because they're like, look at our NVIDIA brand new technology, and they would have like a 2077 trailer, and it was like 5 years away from being released. And so even today, when the game is finally out, it still doesn't look near as good as the trailer did 5 years ago.
RTX off, by the way. Don't use that trash on that ray tracing shit on that game. It just chokes your computer into oblivion. Looks like dick.
It doesn't look good.
Not the ugly kind.
I saw a few people using it. It looked okay. I thought at least. Well, I saw.
Parts of the game look really good, and parts of it look like I'm in 2013.
Yep.
I can't tell why that is exactly.
I feel like BDO looks way better. BDO, we put it in remaster mode and just let it ride. And I feel like an RPG, a single player RPG, should really have good graphics, especially if you're spending $60 for it. I don't think Cyberpunk 2077 is worth $60. I think that's part of the thing I really got tripped up about. I'd pay 30 or 40 for it, but I don't feel like I really got my $60 worth here. But thank God there's going to be modders.
Game. I think it's really solid. I think
you'll get $60 worth, man. I think for sure you'll get $60 worth.
I just want it to look better, and I'm
talking about how it doesn't look that great. I'm still excited to play it. I think it's a super solid game.
Yeah, there's not many games.
But
if you think about like what games are as good or better than Cyberpunk 2077, there's just I can't think of hardly any. You know, that came out this year.
Look forward to down the pipeline, right? Like.
And if 2077 is not worth $60, then almost no game is worth it at this point. So
yeah, I don't buy a lot of $60 games because most of them are fucking Call of Duty or trash.
I paid $70 for Demon's Souls remake.
I think 2077 for me
for 3 times more hours than I played Demon's Souls.
2077 for me, I think I'd pay up to $80 for it. Like if I was a gamer who enjoyed that genre, I'd pay up to $80.
I'd pay no more than 72.
72? 70 plus some
if they
tax?
put 73, I would be out. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone for that. It's too high.
I don't know if the graphics, the RTX stuff doesn't do anything for me. The graphics, the textures are low resolution and dated. It was in development too long. And I feel like I should get a $20 discount off of it.
I just really like headshotting with a revolver. It's very satisfying.
Yeah. I can't figure out how to use sniper rifles in that game. They work like shotguns.
Yeah, I can't figure it out either. I literally
thank God.
The revolver. I have a revolver that goes through walls, and so that's pretty broken. I might have to stop using it.
Yeah, melee weapons too. I'm not using melee.
I already
weapons.
had to stop using the katana. I got a katana and just cut everything to pieces at the beginning, and I had to stop using the katana because there was no challenge left. And now I have a gun that shoots through walls, and I think I'm gonna have to stop using that too.
I did hard instead of very hard because I was discouraged from my Doom run through.
I did whatever the hardest one is, but I'm still waiting for the difficulty to begin. Maybe I have to get further in the story or something.
Well, I mean, that's stealth games, right? Like if you really want an easy run through of like Elder Scrolls or something, you just build stealth. And I kind of hate stealth mechanics in games like this because like you crouch right in front of them and then go like, hey, is somebody in this room? When you're directly right in front of them, the immersion just really isn't there.
Yeah, but then when I shoot someone in the face, they know where I am instantly. Like, come on, you just took a bullet to the face. You should at least have to look around for a second.
But why is my silenced weapon doing 10 times more damage because I'm crouched? You know,
Yeah, the fact that the silencer gives you a damage bonus while you're stealth, like instead of just making you sneakier, is kind of. I guess it does.
I mean,
a little bit of both.
I get it's a video game and it doesn't have to be super realistic, but you're using subsonic rounds and like reducing accuracy and all this other kind of stuff. And instead, you're like actually one-shotting people in a game that really won't let you do that any other way.
I don't one-shot anyone. Everything has a shitload of health and max difficulty, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, bullet sponge is kind of a turnoff for me, but they give copious amounts of flashbangs, and one of the first perks you can get is your grenades don't hurt you. So that's a real good, I'm playing at 3 a.m. drunk boomer thing to spec into, and I'm very happy about it.
I like the fact that they're bullet sponges because I pretty much have to hit headshots in order for anything to die.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit harder.
I feel like Borderlands is my go-to for a bullet sponge experience, but I'm enjoying the game. I don't think I'll do like a different run through or a different spec or something like that. I'll get through the story like I did with Fallout 4. Maybe if there's some fucking great mods where like my car turns into Thomas the Tank Engine, I'll go and fuck with that for a little bit. But
I think a solid overhaul mod where they make like the police a lot less dumb and enemies, more aggressive and do more damage. Like it's a combat overhaul and like a UI fix where they make it easier to like eat your food and shit. I think those two things could completely change the game, like the way that mods change Elder Scrolls games.
The game's been in development for 6 or 7 years, and the basics like UI and combat and AI need modding. Kind of
it's the same with Elder Scrolls though. Every Elder Scrolls game is like that. Like, especially the more recent ones, Oblivion and Skyrim, those games are dog shit compared to the modded versions. Like
Skyrim definitely got carried by mod.
Unmodded Skyrim's like a 6 out of 10 game. Modded Skyrim, 10 out of 10 across the board. Like it's crazy what modders have done to that game. And so I think it still has a lot of potential if the modding community steps up, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I think it's just worth noting. 6 years and we need modders.
So did you guys watch the Crimson Desert trailer playthrough gameplay thing?
Yeah,
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it yet.
You gotta see it, dude. There's a scene at the end that's gonna catch you completely off guard. Looks fucking insane. Yeah.
So have they said if it's single player, multiplayer, or what?
It's not single player. I don't know why people are saying it's single player. Where did that meme start? Why is everyone saying it's fucking single player
that has multiplayer elements? Some people say it's MMO.
They
some
said
people
it
say
had.
RPG.
It's literally all they said is that it has a single player campaign in it, and people have taken that to mean that the whole game is a single player game. I don't know where that leap is like coming from.
Well,
BDO has a single player campaign. Like
it's called questing.
Yeah, I don't know why people are freaking out and calling it a single player game just because it has a storyline in it.
Well, originally they said it's 5 characters you can choose from, and you get to play through a single player campaign. And I was just wondering if they said anything more about the MMO side, because they originally announced it as an MMO, but we have yet to see anything that I've, at least for me, that says MMO, like dungeons, raids, or grind spots or whatever. So I just don't. I don't know. That's what I'm kind of curious about.
Unless they changed it in the last year and made it into got rid of the online components. The game was literally announced as an MMO. So
yeah.
I mean, it is Pearl Abyss. It's possible that they swap genres mid-development.
The only thing that I
literally announced the game as an MMO.
The only thing I remember them saying is this will not be a direct competitor of BDO. It kind of caters to a different audience. That's the only thing I really remember. But other than that, yeah.
And people are saying they removed the word MMO from the marketing. Or did they really retcon the game's genre?
There were some screenshots of them apparently they've changed on the website 2 or 3 times, changed the wording.
Yeah, I heard that too.
What genre it's going to be in.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Do you guys think Pearl Abyss can make a single player game? I'm kind of fucking mind.
No.
Well,
oh god, no.
I will say that they have some really, really good CGI for some of the campaign stuff. So I think that the CGI part of it they can handle. I think the fun side
the
of it.
combat looks solid. The actual gameplay looks super solid. The guy doing takedowns and cutting throats and jumping and kicking and shit. You didn't think that looked sweet?
Yeah, I think that they can get the combat down. I think that they can get the CGI down. I think that the problem might come down to like the storyline narrative. That's what I'm concerned about.
Oh yeah, BDO story
Yeah,
makes zero sense.
I'm not sure if the storyline is gonna translate well.
Yeah, the combat for sure should be really good, and the graphics. It's just going to come down to their story delivery, I guess. But I mean, I don't think that's too hard. I mean, what else do we have on the market to really look forward to, right? Like,
Sure.
we've been waiting for Lost Ark forever. Ashes is just now doing like non-disclosure alphas next mid-year next year, and then Star Citizen, maybe our grandkids will be able to play. And, I mean, there just really isn't anything to look forward to. So, I mean, I think
New World
give it a shot.
and
yeah, Bless Unleashed is right around the corner.
yeah,
dude.
New World,
dude.
yeah, true.
New World and Mortal 2.
Sorry.
Mortal 2.
Mortal 2.
Oh
Had
my
a-
god, I forgot Mortal's making another game, dude. I forgot that. I can't.
They had a
believe
beta.
they're still at it.
They made a beta and it looks fucking gorgeous. It's the same map as Mortal 1 and they just updated everything. And it was extremely cinematic. Looked like it ran really smooth. I think there might be some serious potential with Mortal 2.
Interesting.
Right?
Is there any kind of timeline for it?
It just got announced, so I'm sure it's years away.
It
So
did
what
not
kind
just
of
get
like
announced. Hold on.
what kind of
It was-
genre?
it's a full loot PvP, hardcore PvP game.
Okay,
It-
it's like
it
Albion.
used to
Mortal takes full loot PvP beyond. Like, you guys have played full loot PvP games. People think about like Eve or Albion or whatever. Mortal is like the next level of fucking open-ended sandbox, weird ass like niche.
Super extreme.
You either played Darkfall or you played Mortal back in the day. And Darkfall's super fucking dead. And I barely touched Mortal once or twice, but there's money. It was a pre-alpha server stress test is what it was. So I think we're probably at least a year away from, I don't know if it's going to be a game that's going to be like officially released kind of thing. I think they'll probably move into alpha or beta and just kind of run the game like that. But I would suspect that we could all have access to it sometime in 2021. Looked really pretty. The server seemed to do well, and full loot PvP, man. How do you say no to that? That gets toxic real quick.
Last Oasis without the walkers.
Yeah, it's very medieval.
It has
Mortal.
magic in it, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's massive RP potential in that game too. You want to talk about a game with RP potential that could threaten something. Mortal looks gorgeous and it's very, very medieval.
Bro, I don't see any mentions of online shit on this Crimson Desert website.
No, really? That's fucking scary.
It looks
Apparently
like
they've changed it like 3 times, dude. I told you.
it literally looks like a single player game from the way that they're marketing it on this website.
There was a Reddit thread that had like 2 or 3 different screenshots of how they've progressively like changed what the website have said over the past like year since they revealed it for the first time.
I'm sorry, Pearl Abyss, but I'm not playing a single player game from you.
I'm gonna play it. Did you watch the trailer, Tim?
I mean, I'll definitely play it. But
I'm gonna play it. I'm
I
gonna play
did.
this fucking game. This is a good looking game. I think I'm gonna laugh at the story, but I think the game's still gonna be very sick. Like, the combat looks amazing. That shit at the end, I'm not gonna spoil it yet because Kerr hasn't seen it, but there's a couple scenes in there that look like they're gonna be pretty goddamn legendary.
The screen
If
shake is
nothing
already giving me like eye pains.
That's
I'm gonna watch it
Screen
right
shake
after we
is-
finish.
Screen shake's pretty rough, but I mean, if nothing else, Pearl Abyss knows how to make a game that looks and feels good. Even if like the design of it is wonky, they know how to make you feel good when you're playing your character and killing shit and, you know, being a warrior or being whatever it is that you are in that game.
Yeah, you feel like a badass.
I don't know. If I got to spend $60 on another game, I'm probably gonna have a fucking meltdown.
It's probably going to be 65.
That 5 is gonna be the
Well,
I'll
the
have to set a
Founders
donation
Edition will
goal.
be like 150, and then the special edition will be 100.
Yeah, there will be an early access version that has like a special costume or something.
And scalpers will sell it for like $500 before release, like they did Cyberpunk.
So
Those are the
is
people
this
who really lost?
somebody just put something in my chat? What is Crimson Desert's genre? Crimson Desert's an open world action adventure that combines elements of narrative-driven single player games with online multiplayer functionality.
That was their original stance, right?
Yep.
And then now there's nothing on their website that says anything
There's
about multiplayer.
nothing on this website about online
'Cause they
anywhere.
used to say that.
Yeah, they literally announced it as an MMO. So there's been plenty of talk about it being an MMO, but I don't see any of that now. I think
my
they
God.
actually retconned their genre, dude. I didn't believe it.
More
You will
was
find-
mind blown, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. There was more to it. You'll find MMO elements, but single player experiences that define open world action adventure.
We know
Are
what that
also
means,
an
though,
XP.
right? Like we know that means like enhancing. When they say MMO elements, they're talking about like
It
I don't
might be
think they're
single
talking
player.
about online. I think they're talking
Casino
about
gear
gameplay.
progression.
Yeah.
Bro, I tell you what, it
Big
looks
Eastern single player campaign games are there? Like all I can really think of is like the Final Fantasy series.
I tell
Like,
you
how many like narrative driven Eastern releases are you guys hooked on?
I'm kind of over Final Fantasy too, honestly.
I gotta say though that this looks like gameplay wise to be one of the most fun games, and visually there's some things that are like breathtaking. Like I've never seen anything quite like it in a video game from the trailer. I definitely have no faith in the storyline whatsoever. After watching their trailer, I still have no faith in their storyline. But the game looks like something that I would actually play at this point as a single player. Like it actually looks like something I'd play.
There's like so it's like a 5-minute trailer, and like 3 of the minutes are just characters silently arguing with each other for some reason. And I think like it's just begging for a dub or a lip sync for someone to go through and like make meme versions of it. I can't believe it hasn't been done yet. Like somebody needs to go through and just make up dialogue for those characters, because the way they like gesture at each other while they're arguing it's so funny.
Damn, dude. Now I really want to watch the trailer.
What about Last Oasis, Potion? That's what you've been doing the past couple weeks, right?
Yeah, Last Oasis is you guys played it before, but right now it's in a state where they have Iron came out, they have like the high level technologies are out. Traditionally all the clans start merging together and then form big alliances and go tear each other up. They're currently building hype up for their Xbox release, and they'll do another server wipe. They are saying it's going to be in January. We'll have to see if that ends up being confirmed or not. And they're also planning on doing so this update was basically for their marketplace. They wanted to get their economy working properly with flots and trading and all that stuff, and I think they did an okay job of that. The next one is supposed to be dungeons and mobs and like the AI kind of stuff. So that should be the next update, and that's going to be with the Xbox release. And hopefully that'll give them a lot more money so they can continue developing it, because I do think the project overall is really fun and definitely pushes the survival genre into a really fun area that is currently not available in Rust or other games.
I agree with that.
I think there needs to be a solution to like how easy it is to get griefed by bigger clans. Like the stone bases worked really well until hard tiles came out, and then now that Hellfire is a possibility and your safe base can get raided, like suddenly I find myself feeling like, well, okay, I have to spend way more time doing logistics and like bullshit to stay safe now, and way less time actually playing and enjoying the game. And I don't know how they balance that, because like if they make truly unrateable bases, then people are gonna like find ways to abuse that, right? But at the same time, like just the possibility that some 40-man Zerg is going to come through and like burn into my base and take all my best shit means I have to log it out every night, which means I have to go through the circus of like bringing it out of the lobby and finding a spot to park in and packing it up like I can't just hop on the game and play. It has to be like a fucking 3-4 hour thing every time I play that game. And like, I don't know, maybe that's what the player base wants, but I think in the long run, like you've got to have a more casual population. It can't only be hardcore 8-hour-a-day Andes. Like,
Yep.
I sincerely agree with that, and that's what's kind of turned me away recently.
I think there's a bad solution to this, but would work temporarily, and then there's a long-term solution. The temporary solution is just make it a rule where you can't team up with other clans, period. You're your own clan. You can only work with your clan. If you team up with anyone else, it's a bannable offense. That's a short-term solution that doesn't feel good. But what that would do is it would make it where you could actually go to a 5-man clap, and you wouldn't have 3 clans of 5, and it'd be 15 versus 5, right? It would prevent that from happening, but that's not a very good long-term solution, and I think most people wouldn't like that. I think a better solution is making it sort of like there's a ranking, sort of like in League of Legends or other games where you're like a bronze type guild, a silver or gold or platinum or whatever, some type of rating system. And so if you were a higher tier guild, you couldn't go to low tier tiles. And if you're a low tier guild, you could go to higher tiles, but it would be at your own risk. That would be a better long-term solution, but the current clan cap thing, this doesn't work, because if they make it a 2 clan cap, then you just have 50 clans of 2, and that doesn't really solve it.
Everybody gets a non-localized medium chest that stays at the trade station in every tile, where they can put walkers and limited materials, maybe even just a small chest, and you can put dinghies and under in it, and you can pack up your quality like tools and stuff. So you've got like limited space of some safe things that's non-localized. So when you move to a different tile, you can head over to the trade station and grab some shit and keep fighting and stuff. So you're not so, if you want to make a base and really thrive, and pack it up and move it and stuff like that, you can. But you can also kind of operate out of the trade station, which is highly contested anyway. So if you leave there, and you got a bunch of shit, you could just get ganked. But you've got that little bit of safety that travels along with you as you go tile to tile PvPing.
Something like that. There's a lot of different potential solutions to it. I'm not saying that the one I offered was the correct one, but there does need to be something for it.
Getting closer, yeah. They're way closer in season 2 than they were in season 1, and I mean,
agreed.
The people who are running the game are clearly like really thinking about it and listening to feedback. A lot of the season 2 changes are like straight off of the Last Oasis subreddit. Like I think they're approaching the problems in the right way. So even though they clearly need more time, I do think the game's headed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. One thing they've done recently is added something called poaching hunts, and poaching huts basically take the resources from the proxy. So you basically place it, there's an area of effect, and instead of the people who own the tile getting it, the people who put down the poaching hut get the resources, which I think is a fun little mechanic. Now there's a strife between the tile owner and whoever put down this poaching hut. So it needs balancing, but the idea I think is good.
I think the poaching hut's great. That's one of the smartest things that they've added. That's like a really clever solution that I hadn't thought of.
There's a lot of things they need to do for it, though. I think long as they can figure out how to monetize the game long term and continue making these iterative updates to the game, like once, twice a year, I think the game has a bright future in the long run. Just because, I mean, it's a fun game, and I don't mind restarting it. I thought restarting it would really kill the vibe for me, but I think honestly restarting it is like one of the most fun things in the game.
Yep.
Do we have an idea for how big the team that works in that game is?
I heard a number, it's 30, but I don't know where they got that from. So I would take that with a grain of salt.
What are you playing, Kerr? You still playing Phasmophobia or whatever?
I played a bit of Phasmophobia, but lately I've been playing a whole lot of BDO. I got talked into playing whatever you call it, Terraria, for like the first time to like actually playing it.
Oh.
And It's been all right. It's been pretty fun. But mostly just
That'll be a time sink.
Oh yeah, dude. Because like the first time I played it, I never made it through the first boss, the eyeball guy, and so that's time we've played a lot and made it past that guy. So it's pretty fun.
How many other bosses have you fought?
Well, I've kind of been getting clapped on by the scarab guy with all the segments, but we finally beat that boss after forever. And yeah, so it's still pretty early on.
What makes Terraria so good?
I don't know. That's a Moreland question. I remember watching Moreland play the heck out of it on stream. I've just been enjoying the freedom.
I mean, a lot of it is the progression. There's so many layers of progression, and especially the first time you play it, when you haven't discovered everything yet, and you don't know what you're going to need for the next boss, or when you're going to run into the next boss, or what the next biome is going to be. It has a really good exploration element to it. There's so much like just open-endedness in terms of what you can build and what you can make, and then the just the sheer amount of content too, like especially if you're playing through on hard mode. There's a new master mode that we never even got to. There's so much like shit to do and loot to get and like different builds to try out. It's just a fucking huge game, right? It's like asking what's good about Minecraft. It's just the sheer vastness of it.
Is it $60?
I don't know. I think it's like not. I think it's cheap.
It's a 2D game, all right? 2D games automatically half priced.
Yeah, but like 10 or 15 bucks.
You can get like hundreds of hours of content out of Terraria, even though it's a 2D game. Like,
oh yeah.
In some ways, I would say it even has more content than Minecraft because there's like actually shit to do. Like Minecraft doesn't have much of a campaign or like boss progression. It's just like how sweet of a fort can I build. Whereas Terraria, there's so much actual like stuff to go through and reasons to get stronger, and like the next objective is always ahead of you.
I used to play a game like that. I forgot the name of it. It came out right around that time, but it was a little less developed. Oh shit, what was the name of it? Shower with your dad? No.
What?
I forgot.
Say what, bro?
He's looking through his game catalog.
There's a game called Shower with Your Dad.
That's the first
Shower with Your Dad Simulate. Oh, Starbound. That's it. Starbound.
Nice Steam library you got there, Tim.
Thanks, dude. Dude, Shower with Your Dad Simulator's fun.
Did others gift that to you?
No, this was pre-streaming.
Oh, okay.
I have to be careful what gifted games I accept on Steam in case I ever leak my library on stream.
Yeah.
All right. I want to go play some Cyberpunk.
Sounds good. That was Nerds and Words episode, I think, 28. Thank you so much for Potion Shop for all the work that he puts into uploading and getting all that stuff together. I know it's a pain in the ass, brother. Thank you. Kerr, thanks for coming in and being the fourth wheel on this bus today. Yeah. As things kind of develop and we get a little more information, maybe through the all the topics that we talked about today through the Calpheon Ball and self-publishing and stuff like that, I'm sure we'll have plenty more to talk about with these topics. But I want to thank everybody individually and collectively. If anybody has something special going on their stream this week, if you want to take a second, plug yourself, go ahead. Like Potion Shop coming back on Monday?
Yep. All right. So for me, my coming back to streaming on Monday. We'll be hitting it hard for especially the first week. We have the new class on the way. Looking forward to that. Making a few YouTube videos, new music albums out. If you're looking forward to the podcast, those will all be uploaded. My goal is by the end of today. We might have them by end of tomorrow, worst case scenario. We're currently 3 episodes that are not uploaded right now, so those will be on Spotify and YouTube by the end of the day is my goal. And that's what's going on for me.
Kerr, what's up with you, homie?
I'm just making silver. Just grinding.
Hell yeah. Moreland, finishing Cyberpunk. Anything else special?
Yep, Cyberpunk, Nax progression. I got some sweet upgrades in BDO, so I'm going to be getting back into that. Maybe trying out some of these higher end spots that I haven't been able to grind yet. And then working on the website as well. The website is available to the public now, moreland.tv. But as soon as we launched it, like within hours, something messed up with the API and it broke. So trying to figure that out. It'll probably be back up in a day or two. It's just me and one developer essentially who are working on it, and the developer has a real job, so he only does this part-time, but we'll get it fixed. And then there's a whole bunch of new stuff that I really want to add to the website in terms of like, a cooking tool and other stuff like that. So I'm going to be taking a dive into those things in BDO and kind of remastering them and figuring out the best way to make a tool that can be used for widespread use. So that's what I got coming down.
Good for you. I think I'm going to keep focusing on myself probably for the rest of the year. So I'm going to pump out some YouTube videos and probably just stream on Saturdays for now. Might be a quick little pop-up stream or something like that. But everybody's been really supportive of me just kind of taking care of me. So I appreciate that, especially as we head into the holidays here and all that kind of stuff. So on behalf of everybody here, thank you for listening or watching, whatever you may be doing. We are Nerds and Words. We're going to be doing this at 5 p.m. Eastern, I think, for another week or so as Moreland does Naxxramas. But we are normally 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays, 12 Pacific. Catch you guys next time. Thank you very much.